Let's play the sound, folks.
Yeah! Is that as loud as it goes?
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
In Hillary Clinton's America, the system stays rigged against Americans. Syrian refugees flood in. Illegal immigrants convicted of committing crimes get to stay, collecting Social Security benefits, skipping the line. Our border open, it's more of the same, but worse. Donald Trump's America is secure. Terrorists and dangerous criminals kept out. The border secure. Our families safe. Change that makes America safe again. Donald Trump for president.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and
Kerry Smith.
Giving you all the late-breaking news of the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where the media loves to hide all those tidbits, them golden nuggets that you'll never hear on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Also wrapping it up of last week's information that was put out there, either misinformation by the media or factual information that you didn't get to hear because somebody didn't want you to hear it. Follow us on Facebook.com/Smith Radio, SMYTH Radio. You can find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is blowing up. It's absolutely exploding. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to us on YouTube. I know it's a great medium.
Hey, they love it. They absolutely love listening there. It's amazing. I'm cool with it.
As soon as YouTube removed the super secret double probation by allowing us to be back on YouTube, ironically, they found a way to monetize us.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean for themselves?
For themselves. So if they deem that something that we do in this show is worthy of money, then there will be an ad that will come up before the show plays. Just hit skip. It doesn't come to us. It's sad. But anyways, you're getting the real information out there. That's what's most important. And again, YouTube, that's Smith Radio, SMYTH. And then certainly on Twitter. Our Twitter channel is just, it's incredible. There's a lot of people following us. We're following a lot of people.
Twitter has really blown up. And I think it's great because it's real. I mean, the movement that has been created through Twitter as a medium for it's pretty much the Trump movement, right?
Correct. Absolutely. So, and we don't want to be the same old every time that you turn on Smith Radio. And we never are. We're always giving you something new, something spicy, laughing about it, joking around, having a lot of fun with politics. There's the pastor at church today came up to me, and they know we do the show. And there's some people that aren't for Trump and some that are, but it's really touching. You don't talk about that kind of stuff at church, but the pastor in a little group after church said, "Hey, Brian, you want to hear my political joke?"
Oh, boy.
And everybody just kind of bit their tongue, and I'm like, "Yeah, man.
Freak out."
Yeah. What did you think? I'm going to freak out? No, I said, "Yeah, man, go ahead. Hit me. What is it? What is it?" He's like, "Okay." And I'll tell you the joke. You go along with it, okay, Carrie? Okay, if you can imagine Hillary Clinton with her health, not right now where she's sleeping it off, but awake with her health, and Donald Trump on a completely deserted island with nothing on the island whatsoever except for the two of them, who wins?
You mean with her health problems?
No health. She's good to go.
Oh, she's healthy.
Yeah, she's healthy. Between her and Trump, who wins?
On a deserted island.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you mean like survival? Who survives it? Like the game show Survivor?
That's the joke. Who wins?
I don't know.
America.
Oh, no.
Wah, wah, wah. Which
dun.
I laughed, and I was like, "Hey, man, that's a good one. I'm gonna plug you on the show tonight with that." And then all of a sudden, people started jumping in. "Oh, yeah, I'm not for anybody. They're all a joke. And this is just sad."
Is that the new thing?
Yeah.
That's the new trend is, they're both bad.
What was that you hit me up with this week? You said you heard you've lost faith in humanity. You heard one of our guys say, not one of our guys, but obviously somebody on the social media say, you know who I'm voting for? I'm voting for who could get impeached the fastest.
That's right. That's right. Oh, they're both terrible. I'm just going to vote for the one. It was actually an interview. Somebody was conducting an interview, and I'm sorry because I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was one of the channels that I follow on YouTube, and they were interviewing a whole bunch of people. It was like a 12-minute video, and if I remember correctly, it might have been the DNC or something like that. Whatever it was, it's neither here nor there, but the point is that they were trying to find Hillary supporters, and they were trying to see what their reasons were for supporting them, and if not, why not? And deep into this video, I got to the woman that said, "Oh, I don't like either one of them, and I'm just going to vote for the one that gets impeached the fastest." I just blew my. I was floored.
So when I told the guys that today, when I said that to them,
it's not a joke. Somebody actually, that's their strategy for voting in America today.
Well, I threw it out there as a joke, just like, yeah, whatever. Everybody commented on it. The biggest thing was, okay, then that means the VP steps up. What VP has been any good? I'm like, oh.
Are you kidding me? I mean, there's,
Well, but you got to think, these people may be libs.
Right.
So we're talking about going back to Al Gore.
Yeah, okay.
Or even Jimmy Carter and whoever was with him. That was an utter failure. So that's a Democrat failure.
I don't even know who Jimmy Carter's vice president was.
Oh, it was Honey Badger. I know. Nobody knows about Honey Badger.
No.
Honey Badger don't give a beep.
Oh, well, there's the viral video about the Honey Badger. But
no, so nobody knows anything about Carter. Really, the peanut grower has gone away. Okay, now we got Al Gore, which has now come out this week with the hacked emails that his whole global warming initiative was pushed and funded by George Soros. Okay, so Al Gore would be a horrible president.
Right.
And then we've got Uncle Joe. I don't think Uncle Joe would, not that he would be bad or good. I just think he'd be kind of apathetic. Just kind of.
I think that he would have ran away with this thing. And the fact that he didn't, that he stepped aside and said, I'm just not going to do it. Clearly, now that we know everything that we know at this moment with the DNC WikiLeaks thing and all this, the George Soros stuff, it's clear, and all the deaths, the mysterious deaths of people getting shot up and killed, and then the person that murders that person who was going to rob them decided, you know what, now that they're dead, I'm going to have a change of heart and not steal anything from them.
I was told there were 5 deaths in 1 month.
Yeah, all by Hillary Clinton. So that all being said, it's clear to me now that Joe Biden was told, hey, your son's death, maybe it was an accident, maybe it wasn't.
Oh, no.
Seriously.
Hey, can you hold my wallet for me?
Yeah. There's some cyanide in there. Or maybe there isn't.
isn't.
We need that clip. It's from Spies Like Us. If you remember, he was trying to bribe the test taker because he didn't study for it at all, and he needed to pass it. So he tried to bribe the test taker with $100. Well, back then, $100, that's...
Could you imagine? I mean, gas was what? Oh, maybe 75 cents, maybe even less a gallon, maybe...
About 75, I would think.
Somewhere a gallon. No, not too bad. So, the big thing, obviously, this week is, well, I mean, it was big last week when we talked about it.
Hillary's health, right?
Hashtag Hillary health.
Right.
And I am.
That is still trending. Can you believe it? That's got to be the longest trending political hashtag I've seen outside of the typical hashtag Trump or hashtag Trump Pence 16. Obviously those hashtags are going to stick around for months and months and probably won't go away until after November.
Right.
But yeah, Hillary's health. There's these cycles that happen, and it's just, hey, what are we going to fill air with during the week during this news cycle? And so Hillary's health obviously popped in there, but it's been we're in week 3 on that. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I definitely would. I mean, And we're going to get into Louisiana, the biblical floodings. We're going to get into Bannon being hired on this week with Trump, and a lot of other different things. However, this thing with Hillary and her health obviously stopped her from being able to go visit Louisiana, because I know she wanted to.
I mean, they said she was taking time off. And for her, I mean, you've got to know, with what happened with George W. Bush, thanks to the mainstream media and how they were able to destroy him during the Hurricane Katrina debacle. A lot of people credit Hurricane Sandy for helping Obama win, like almost like that was the sole thing.
Oh yeah,
Hurricane Sandy happened, and then Obama wins the presidency. If it wasn't for Hurricane Sandy, then he would not have won. Now you got this Louisiana thing. For them to drop the ball this severely, I don't buy it. I think that she physically can't do it. Could you imagine her running around carrying crates of bottled water and stuff and unloading a 18-wheeler, kind of like what we've seen Trump doing as a 70-year-old?
Yeah, because what you want to do when you go to an area like that that's been stricken by, natural disasters, you roll your like Bush. You roll your sleeves up. You get in there. And you start passing the water. You get in the line, and you help with the water, and you help with you meet with the people, and you help lift the heavy loads, and it's the perception. I know it's all for show, but whatever, folks. That's just what it is. But when you do that, it sets the persona that you are physically in there, in the trenches. You're with the soldiers. You're down in the trenches, helping to win this battle on foot. I mean, that's just what it is. You're making that connection with the people that are stricken the hardest. So maybe when you talk about it in your speeches or whatnot, it'll give it more weight, give it more gravitas, give it more, realism. Hey, I was there. I was down there and I was helping and I was part of that.
And I would like to say that I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on one little minor detail you threw out there. You called it for show. And you know what? 99% of the time, you're absolutely right about that. However, in this particular case, and I'm not saying that, oh, look, Trump's coming in on his white horse and his shining armor, and he saved the day single-handedly. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is the level of negligence on the part of the entire leftist machine. And the reason I can't just single it out, it's the whole machine. You got your Obama. I throw Clinton in there by herself because the Clinton machine is in and of itself a giant leviathan, if you will. And then you got the media, which is the ginormous propaganda arm of the Democrat Party, all funded by George Soros. And they're actually going out of their way to make sure that this is not going to blow up into some big news cycle. And then finally, people were like, hey, and to be honest, it actually happened for days and days where nobody was talking about it. So it was actually kind of working until they realized that this flooding is a lot worse than they thought, a lot more widespread. And I think the floating coffins down the street was the
tipping.
nail.
Was that the tipping point?
Nail. It was the nail. It was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Floating coffins was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Straw back.
Yeah. Floating camel carcasses was no. Seriously, the big thing is bodies floating down in New Orleans during Katrina. There were bodies floating everywhere. You can smell it and blah blah. No video of that. When Brian Williams said it, come to find out it was completely debunked and he made it up. His excuse for making it up was, well, I said that I saw it myself, but really what I was doing was channeling the news reports I heard from those on the ground. I wasn't actually there. But I wasn't going to say, this is the problem with leftists, I wasn't going to say there's reports of bodies floating, or so-and-so said there's bodies floating. I just wanted to bypass the middleman and say I stood there and watched bodies floating past me as I stood there.
It could have been true.
Well, we know it was true because the reports were very, very convincing. So, and besides, we needed it to be true.
How do you not believe it when he says it with passion?
And besides, it's shocking. So it has to be true, right? So, well, the thing about the coffins is there was no dispute. It was kind of like, guys, I know we've been trying to bury this news story, but there's coffins floating down the street, and they couldn't hide it anymore.
It's unconscionable.
Well, I guess it doesn't feel as bad as bodies floating down, because bodies would mean that these people were just recently alive.
Well, they're still alive.
They could still be alive.
Right.
No, they're talking about dead bodies floating face down. That's what they were saying in Katrina.
Dead bodies floating.
Yes, absolutely.
Jeez.
Brian Williams said he saw it when he wasn't even there. He didn't even see video of it. Yeah, that's Brian
Wow.
Williams. Yeah, so that's... Anyway, the point is, they got to the point where they're like, guys, we could show... I saw the still shots of the coffins floating. There were multiple coffins in a street that was flooded.
Yeah, that's a problem. And so
Right.
Obama went down there to comfort them as well. I mean, because Hillary couldn't do it, so Obama went to comfort.
Actually, he didn't.
What?
He didn't go down at all.
What was he doing?
Well, he was actually playing golf.
Yeah, he was...
With, what's his name?
yeah,
Larry David.
David.
The guy who plays Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Was he actually in character is the question.
Well, he looked like he was in... I mean,
He
looked
always
like
looks
it.
like he's in character. What are you talking about? Honestly, I'm starting to think that Bernie Sanders is playing Larry David.
You'll never see them in the same room.
Oh, that's
together.
what it
The
is.
two of
They
them
are the
different.
same person. Oh, did you guys see? I posted it really late last night on Twitter. If you are a Twitter follower of Smith Radio, at Smith Radio, it's spelled SMYTHRADIO. But if you are already a follower and you have me on notifications, sometime late last night you will have seen a post YouTube video. They did the bad lip reading.
I love those. I love them.
They just came out like maybe a day or so ago, maybe a day.
Even if they bash
The DNC.
the candidate that I like, or they go
This
against
is the
somebody,
DNC.
but whoever they do it, I still laugh. It's hysterical.
Yeah, and normally they're just doing it to Republicans, but they roasted.
Did you send me the one about when Ted Cruz went to the RNC?
Ted Cruz had a funny one.
Did you send that to me?
The RNC, they did a bad lip reading for RNC. I'm sure I sent that.
That was epic.
But the DNC one came out. And remember all the people. I forgot how many people spoke at this thing. But all the players, including Obama and Michelle Obama, all those people, he busted all those. Michelle Obama's bad lip reading was hilarious. So if you get a chance, either go to my Twitter feed or you could probably search bad lip reading on YouTube, and it is just hilarious. I loved it. And I love every one of their bad lip readings because it will crack you up. So anyway. So Obama, he's golfing.
Yep.
And
He's on
supposed to be-
summer vacation. Summer vacation. He's not going to cut it short. He was not going to cut it short.
How long is summer?
Well, the whole summer.
Like 3 months or 3 years?
Well, out of the $400 million that he gave to Iran for the
oh yeah, that was stressful.
right,
needed
he
to
had
take
to decompress.
Oh, he did decompress. So I could see that. So he didn't want to leave early just for a couple dead coffins floating down the
right.
So finally they said, well, what about Hillary? And that's when we realized it's been 261 days today, I believe.
Yeah, it was 57 2 days ago. 257 2 days ago.
We're going on we're pushing almost a year.
A whole year.
That she has not done a press conference at all. And by the way, I need somebody to verify this for me, but apparently she's been canceling scores of rallies.
It goes back to the theory. I don't know what news channel put it. It might even have been Rush. But somebody put the numbers
Rush.
together. Was it Rush?
Yep.
He said, here are the numbers when she goes to rallies and speaks.
Anytime she speaks publicly.
They fall.
Right.
She disappears and her numbers go up.
Yeah, what happens is they creep up and up and up and up slowly like a hot air balloon because she is full of hot air.
Well,
and so she creeps up, she floats up and up and up in the polls, and then she does a public appearance and she's cackling and she's doing these socially awkward gestures and dialect, and it's just terrible. And people are like, whoa, I did not sign up for this. Right. And so her poll numbers drop. And it was kind of the opposite with Trump, although things have gotten serious this week. We're going to talk about that, right?
Sometime. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it was kind of the opposite with Trump, where as long as he's doing rallies, as long as he's talking, people are really liking everything that he's saying. All the news networks are like, wow, our ratings go through the roof whenever we get Donald Trump on, so let's get him on, let's be nice to him so that he'll come on. And so it was working out for him, and his poll numbers were going up every single time he made a public appearance.
Okay, so when she, I mean, this is the last sound bites we have of her in person. I mean, maybe if that was her person.
Was it a body double?
You don't.
She may need it.
It might have been a robot.
Oh, okay.
But we've played it before. But these are listen. This is what happens when she's in public. It's Oh, this is a Trump. Trump put this together.
I hope you will compare what I'm proposing to what my opponent is talking about. I'm telling you right now, we are going to raise taxes on the middle class. So I may have short-circuited it.
That's funny.
So I originally thought that her head came off, but that would have been bad.
Yeah, then all of a sudden somebody's getting accused of threatening and all this stuff.
But she did have smoke coming off the top of her head.
You can't kill an inanimate object.
Correct. But here's the thing, though. This is what we have for a presidential candidate on the Democrat side. Someone who cannot make public appearances.
And that's a problem.
You would think. This isn't the 1940s where they were hiding that FDR was in a wheelchair.
Right, and they could pull that off.
Well,
right?
Yeah. With the media that back then in the day?
Well, they were very patriotic. I think all the way up until, I think, Nixon maybe, there was a level of respect that every American had for the office, including and especially the news media. And they felt like, wow, this guy, he's pretty much crippled. And we need to make sure that we don't show him in the wheelchair because this could be a problem with our diplomacy overseas. Like, how are the world leaders from other countries going to view our country if our leader can't even stand on his own 2 feet?
Right. He's sick, stricken with polio, can't walk, whatever the case may be. We've got a problem. He is the image, the figurehead of the country. He's crippled. So you're in turn, maybe, I mean, this is their thought process. In turn, you're saying the country's crippled.
What do they call it now? Abled or something like that? Or no, it's not disabled. It's specially abled or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. It's some new thing. We'll have to look that up.
Ably challenged?
No, because it's something ridiculous.
Okay. So she's got all that going on. This week, Guccifer is letting out some more stuff. If you watch it, if you go to his blog page, I'll pull that up here in a minute. But if you go to his blog page, you can see and you can watch him real time, and it's shocking. Down in the comment section below, there's not very many comments. I mean, there's not a lot of people that actually go to Guccifer 2.0 to his blog. But if you go there, you can read all the stuff. It's extremely simple, just real streamlined. It's just real matter of fact, no frills, no ads, no nothing. And apparently he was hacking the DNC and the Clinton Foundation and a lot of stuff coming out of Florida where they were campaign information. He put that up on his website this past week. I think it was the 15th. I think it was the 15th. So was about like 6 days ago. But stay on top of that. But here's what's come out. All of a sudden, new things are coming out that George Soros is involved with Hillary Clinton's campaign. George Soros is involved with Al Gore and pumping money into Al Gore to push the global warming agenda. And George Soros is right there in the middle of all of this. And the latest to come out, and we're still talking about Hillary and her health, and I got a lot of things on that, but this is just a little tidbit. The Obama administration announced back in September 2015, 1 month before the Open Society's board meeting, that it would inject $419 million more to bring 100,000 Syrian refugees over.
This is a clear attempt to completely destroy America.
With ties to George Soros.
Right, and that's his M.O. If you look at what he's done to some of the countries in the past, it's all about destroying countries. And it's weird. Somebody needs to explain this one to me, too. Most people do things in, I would say, normal people, where if they can come out on top financially, that this would be something that they would do even at the expense of other people. And so, for instance, you would destroy a whole country if you short on certain stocks, and it ends up enriching you. And I think that he's been accused of that in the past. But you could say, well, yeah, but anybody could have short. He did it. He did it with a lot of money, so it ends up destroying an entire nation. But I'm going to take it a step further, and I almost feel like if you look at the way he's funding these anti-American propaganda sites, right, which we call mainstream media, which they don't make money. It's scary because you now realize he's not just trying to enrich himself at the expense of others, and the collateral damage is just that, collateral damage. Hey, I'm sorry you're destroyed. I'm sorry that your country's destroyed. I'm sorry that everything in your life is gone. But you know what? I was just trying to get rich. No, I think we've gone to the next step now. I think George Soros is like, listen, I know it's going to cost me a lot of money, and I know it's going to affect my pocketbook, but it's very important to me that you're destroyed, that your country's destroyed, and your whole livelihood, your family, all that's destroyed. That's the most important thing. It's going to cost me money, but it's worth it to me.
Right. What is it? Is it worth the money that you're going to pay out? And obviously to him it is.
Yeah.
In Hillary, the reason why Hillary and Bill Clinton, and I've been thinking about this a lot, why are they so important and so high on the hill in the DNC and with all the media? And the only thing I can come to, the conclusion I come to, is that they are able to bring in more money than anybody has ever been able to bring in before. Foreign dollars, foreign cash, flood waves of cash. And like you were saying, other countries have been destroyed. If you take the whole thing, you folks got to get Clinton Cash, the book. Read the book, then go watch the video. Read the book. Clinton and the likes of them went to Haiti during the earthquake when Haiti was completely devastated. And Haiti had never given out mineral rights to any company, like for years and years and years and decades. But apparently the Clintons cut a deal. Haiti, you'll get X amount of dollars if you grant this mineral rights to this company for gold mining.
Oh, my gosh.
And guess who was on the board?
In their time of need?
Guess who was on the board of directors?
Bill Clinton?
Hillary's brother. That the other one,
I don't know.
Rodham. Yeah, it was her brother,
like a Roger Clinton. Or
yeah,
something like that?
Yeah. He was in. I mean, her brother. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not looking at the article right now, but their family members are also involved in a lot of these backdoor schemes that they're working on, and it's just absolutely insane. This week came out. The Clintons have announced. The campaign has announced this week, breaking news, if and when, so that's January, so we're still a few months out, Hillary is elected president, she promises to stop taking foreign donor money in the Clinton Foundation, And she promises that Bill will stop giving speeches for money.
This is so sad. This is so sad. You hear what that means, don't you? I shouldn't have to explain this, but just in case there's one of those low information Hillary voters that, see, she's a good character. I'll explain it to you by saying that if I get elected, I'm going to quit taking money from foreign entities. She's admitting that she's taking money from foreign entities. And she's pretty much telling you she's not going to stop until after she defeats Trump.
Right. And if it was wrong as Secretary of State for her to take money from foreign governments, which absolutely is wrong. What she did during her reign as Secretary of State is just god-awful and atrocious, and should be thrown in jail for it. However, if it was wrong then, and she's going to stop now for president, then somewhere there's a wrong. If you're going to stop doing it as president, should you have never have done it as Secretary of State?
Certainly not.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, the two are just getting...
And don't get it confused either. The speeches that Bill Clinton does, and her too, it's not that they would like to hear them speak. It's a way to launder the money to them.
Right.
If she needs $500,000, it would be problematic if they gave it to her in a duffel bag for no other reason than to give her $500,000.
Correct.
But if they were to say, well, what if I hire you to do something? I don't know. What are you good at? Well, I'm sorry, but I'm actually not good at a damn thing.
No. Well, I am good at destroying people, things, and killing, but I'm not like a paid assassin.
I will have to admit, she is a pretty good assassin.
Right, but I'm not a paid assassin. I actually do it to protect myself.
Yeah, it's just for protection, but what she's found was that she could have gotten caught, right? She could have failed.
Oh, yeah.
But she didn't. Even when there's people now knowing that she's a murderer and watching out for it, she still can get away with it.
Right.
So that's how good she is.
Yes.
It's like being at the poker table and knowing that the guy's a bluffer. And then when he does a massive bluff at you, you still have to fold.
Oh, no.
Okay, so anyway. So she said, well, I can't do anything well. Can you stay? I've seen you stand in front of a microphone before. Have you ever done that before? I mean, I've seen it. Yeah, I could stand in front of the microphone. So you're a good speaker. Well, no, I'm not a good speaker. Have you heard me? I mean, are you kidding me? But I can stand in front of a microphone, and I could cackle for a little while, do a couple really socially awkward things. I guess maybe 15 minutes. Is that? All right, we'll give you $500,000, and we'll use your speech skills as an excuse to give it to you, so that way it looks like it's on the up and up.
Wow.
But to be perfectly honest with you, we know her speeches aren't worth $500,000. We couldn't. I guess if you'd have to pay people that much to come and listen to them, because nobody's listening to them.
No, not at all. And if you go to whatreallyhappened.com, or just type in type in Clinton body count, you'll come up with a guy's. I mean, you got to take it tongue in cheek, but the dude put a lot of work and effort into his blog site.
Okay.
And he lists, I think it's in the hundreds, and it's very detailed. He'll put the name of the person that died.
Okay.
How they died.
I thought we were only up to 49.
I know. This is. He also includes connections to
other deaths.
Hillary. Okay. Like, okay, Hillary was in New York, and 1 block away, somebody was supposed to deliver, like the whole FBI thing, supposed to deliver to the FBI. We are counting that guy that was killed to speak to the FBI about Hillary Clinton. We're counting that as body count.
I would totally count that.
Right,
that
right.
absolutely counts. I thought you were going to say she was in Chicago on the South Side and shaking hands, and somebody got murdered a block away.
No. because that happens all the time in Chicago.
Right. That's why I use Chicago.
Right.
I mean, it would be like in Fallujah, and then a soldier died.
And then he doesn't list this on his website. The 4 fallen Americans in Benghazi.
Oh my gosh, that's not counted?
Well, he hasn't. I don't know. I don't know if he's disappeared.
So blatantly negligent.
I don't know if he's disappeared because he hasn't updated in a long time.
Oh, he's dead.
But the site's still up.
R.I.P.
The site's still up, and there's a lot. But the detail, and he'll have pictures of the individual. He'll have news articles of things that have happened, and the whole surrounding of it. Like, he went into great detail with the whole thing with Vince Foster. And he connects Vince Foster to the Clintons.
Yeah. No, Gary Byrne flat out says in his book, and I think that's right, he did tell me in the interview that he has friends in the FBI who told him face to face. This wasn't something that he read, a rumor. This guy told him face to face, we couldn't get the suicide weapon to operate. We had to repair it in order to fire it for forensics.
What?
You didn't hear about that?
I remember it now.
Yeah, Vince Foster killed himself by shooting. He used a gun. And so when
say in the back of the head, 8 feet away. Sorry.
So there
was conspiracy theory. Sorry, folks.
Right. So if you look at the powder residue,
right,
he was clearly 8 feet away.
Right. It looked like somebody brushed residue on the back of his hand.
And So he shot himself, suicide. And even Ann Coulter says, all right, I agree. It was definitely a suicide. But, there's people out there that make a very good argument that they made – this is my conspiracy theory. If you read the book, Crisis of Character, Gary Byrne talks about how abused he was mentally. And if they knew – here's my theory. This is my part of the theory. If they knew that there was any evidence anywhere that he had either uttered or written something that would lead one to believe that he could possibly take his life,
right?
They could mentally abuse him on purpose, which left everybody with their eyebrow raised. Everybody's like, wow, they're being very psychologically abusive to this guy. And then he ends up, quote unquote, air quotes, committing suicide. If you really wanted him dead, all you need is 2 things. You need to beat him up psychologically and have some evidence that he actually was suicidal. And then you just kill him. Say, yep, committed suicide.
The open and close case.
Well, yeah, because
shut it.
Because we were beating him down psychologically. And, oh, look, by the way, we knew he was suicidal. Boom. Just
Done.
Like that. Well, anyway, so the FBI guy that's friends with Gary Byrne said, yeah, that gun was not operational.
That is insane. That's
so
crazy.
They had to fix it.
Why wouldn't they have given him an operational weapon? Or was it? Hold on.
Thought it was.
Hold on. Or was it an inside plant?
I see where you're going here.
He's like,
you're saying that the guy that was in charge of killing Vince Foster did not want to do it, and he was absolutely upset.
And he knew he had to do it because he was going to die if he didn't.
Was next. And he's got a family.
Right.
He's got a family.
And, sometimes you got to knock people off to put food on the table. That's just what happens.
Yeah, sometimes you got to watch out for your family. You got to put your family first. You got to put the wifey and all the kiddies first, right?
Yes.
And so he was thinking, all right, fine. I'll go ahead and do this deed. But I'm going to plant something that's going to make it look really suspicious. So he found a weapon that was clearly not operational.
Oh, no. He didn't have to find one. He's got stuff laying around.
All right. He probably filed the firing pin down.
On purpose, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that way when the forensics took it and they couldn't get it to operate, it would have to be repaired, which is exactly what they did. They had to repair the weapon to fire the test shot for forensics to, just to verify that it was the murder weapon, which, by the way, it turned out it was the murder weapon. So I almost feel like the guy who was in charge of doing it had to disassemble the weapon and make it inoperable and then put it back together.
Wow.
So, yeah, he went through a lot of effort to
play a joke.
Not a joke. He's trying to incriminate the right people.
He's trying to let the FBI know, hey, look.
It's a cry for help.
Yes.
It's a cry for help.
Reminds me of Comey.
Oh, that was a... By the way, we broke that. Nobody else was saying it. Listen, SmithRadio.com, we were the only ones that broke the news that Comey coming out and pretty much listing out the reasons why she's guilty of a crime and then following it up with, and we're just not going to charge her.
Right.
It's a cry for help. He was like, guys, please get me out of this. Somebody's got to do it because I can't. You guys don't understand.
You guys know better. Come on now.
And it didn't work. He's still the little lapdog.
Oh yeah, and check this out. This went down just maybe about a week ago. This video came out in the audio. It's Jason Chaffetz and Comey going back to back and going back and forth, and Chaffetz questioning Comey about Hillary lying. This is how this went. Listen, after you know what we just broke.
Which is that he is crying for help.
Listen to his voice and how he responds and listen to his words.
Did Hillary Clinton lie under oath?
Not to the FBI, not in a case we're working.
Did you review the documents where Congressman Jim Jordan asked her specifically? And she said, quote, "There was nothing marked classified on my emails, either sent or received," end quote.
I don't remember reviewing that particular testimony. I'm aware of that being said, though.
Did the FBI investigate her statements under oath on this topic?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think there's been a referral from Congress.
Do you need a referral from Congress to investigate her statements under oath?
Sure do.
You'll have one.
You'll have one this afternoon, I think is what he's followed up with.
A few hours, right.
So,
come on.
He's like, please give me a referral. Please,
Come
somebody.
on. Man, you know I can't do this, but if you can... So what he's saying is that he needed Jason Chaffetz to give him a referral to then investigate whether she lied to him.
Wow.
I don't think she lied to me. I need a referral to think about that. So, man.
Oh, wow.
So then we got a little bit more on this Hillary thing this week. Okay, the email scandal that will not die.
And it shouldn't. It shouldn't die.
No matter how hard the media tries to bury all this stuff, no matter how many times they lie and they make up stuff and they say things that aren't true, this isn't going to go away. And so Hillary this week on, there it is, MSNBC on the Clinton email scandal, emails, how she started them. She claims that she got the advice from Colin Powell on setting up a private server. And here's MSNBC kind of dancing around it. And I think they spilled the beans on her and they don't realize they did.
New details this morning about how Hillary Clinton came to use her private email account as Secretary of State. NBC News now confirms that Clinton told the FBI it was former Secretary of State Colin Powell who suggested she do so. NBC's Kristen Welker joins us live from our Washington bureau. Kristen, tell us how all this came to light. I feel like Colin Powell's name has been tossed around in this email issue before, but what do we know now?
She has certainly referenced the fact that Colin Powell used a private email server on a number of occasions. Steph, you're absolutely right. Look, the New York Times broke this story saying that on 2 occasions, Colin Powell advised Secretary Clinton to use a private email account. That is what she told the FBI.
Okay, stay with it. She's setting it up. She told the FBI twice Colin Powell advised her. Okay, now we got to find out if she's lying. And we'd probably go to Colin Powell. Okay?
during her interview with them during July. We know that, according to Secretary Clinton, one of those instances was during a dinner party at former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright's house, and another instance occurred in an email. Just moments ago, Andrea Mitchell received a statement from aides to former Secretary of State Colin Powell.
Okay. So these are two different instances that you would certainly remember, I would think. You had a dinner party at Madeleine Not So Bright's house, and you're talking with Hillary about how to set up emails and the best way to use. It's easier to use an AOL account, which is what he had.
Back then, yeah.
Back then it was huge.
Right.
And then another time they had an email exchange about, so it's twice that they've talked about it, so it's something you would certainly remember, right?
Right, you would think.
Well, they reached out to Colin Powell, and this is what came back.
I'm going to read you a little bit of it, Steph. It reads, quote, General Powell has no recollection of the dinner conversation. He did write former Secretary Clinton an email memo describing his use of his personal AOL email account for unclassified messages and how it vastly improved communications within the State Department. At the time, there was no equivalent system within the department. He used a secure state computer on his desk to manage classified information. The general no longer has the email he sent to former Secretary Clinton, really underscoring the fact, Steph, that email back then, when General Powell served as Secretary of State, was much different, clearly not as advanced. Still, this is a pretty interesting development in this ongoing issue that continues to overshadow Secretary.
Okay. There's another part to this, but let me wrap this one up. Okay. Colin Powell no longer has the email that he said he used an AOL account.
Who does? Who still has their AOL email? And you got to be at least in your late 30s.
Oh, to even know of AOL.
To have ever had an AOL account. Although I do know somebody, I think, that might still have one. I'm talking about the AOL extension on your email address.
No, she does.
So like Brian at AOL.com.
No, she does. She still has the AOL account. And is
she still paying for the
until
monthly?
A couple years ago. No, I said it's free. So she called them, and they're like, oh, yeah, you don't have to pay that.
Of course you wouldn't tell her she didn't have to pay.
So how do I get my money back?
Oh.
Okay, so he doesn't remember the conversation at Madeleine Not So Bright's house. And he said he did send an email, but he doesn't have it anymore. That he referenced how easy it was back in the day. Folks, we're talking about back in the day. Mm-hmm. The early infancy of internet. But he used a secure server on his desk for classified information. The email AOL account was for other things. No classified information.
Right. I mean, here's the difference. And this is where the lies come. They're starting to really play semantics. They're starting to parse words. But it's all a lie, because here's what they're saying. See what he recommended it to me. He was doing it. No. He did not recommend setting up a private server. Right. Let me explain. There's a lot of people out there that don't know what a server is.
She said there was only one, by the way.
Okay.
On record,
so
there was one server.
This is what a server is. Everybody has their computer at their house. And every time you send information through the internet, it goes out your wire and out your house. Where it arrives is either a server or a server bank, which is all it is like a really, really big, powerful computer. You can buy a server on Amazon. Any place you can buy a computer, like Micro Center. You can buy a server there. It's just a really big, powerful, expensive computer. Doesn't come with a monitor, doesn't even have a keyboard. It just receives the signals from all these computers in a big area, and then it sends it on its way through the internet to receive to go to a different server, receive its data at a different destination, so that if you're going from computer to computer, a lot of times you're going to bounce around to a lot of different servers. That's what a server is. So let me give you an example. Let's say who here has ever started a website on their own, right? Usually you need a host server. That's where your website is going to actually reside.
Well, like Smith Radio.
Yeah.
And we have contact at smithradio.com.
Right.
I've also got a personal. It's all with GoDaddy.
Okay, so
GoDaddy holds everything.
And GoDaddy has like this giant bank of servers. So, but you could actually have done the same thing with a much smaller person who has maybe just a couple of servers. And so the actual location of your website is going to be on a server as opposed to your own little home computer. You can set up your computer to be its own server, and that was actually a popular option way back in like the mid to late 90s.
Right, early.
And it was very unreliable. And I'll tell you what the problem was. Let's say you were using your own computer for the server to host your own website. If you unplug your computer or you get a power outage, your whole website goes down.
Yeah, you don't have a website up at all.
Not at all. Not at all, because it's on your computer. So that's why you have these servers. Now, what you could also do, if your name is Hillary Clinton,
yikes,
you can go out and buy a server for yourself and then hook it up at your house. And on that server, everything that you do, whether it be hosting a website or creating an email account, a total email account. I'm not talking about an email address. Like when you go to Gmail and you create a Gmail website, email address, your email is on the Google servers. If you buy your own server and call that, let's say, Smith Radio, you would then have like a Brian at smithradio.com. That would be on your server, assuming that you're not using somebody else's server. She did this, and the reason she did this so that she could hide all of her stuff. If she tried to have all this stuff happening on a GoDaddy server,
GoDaddy would have it all.
GoDaddy would own everything that she knows.
And then a subpoena would be handed to GoDaddy, and they would immediately give it over to Congress.
They would have no problem. Yeah, Congress.
You've got no choice. We're in the middle of an investigation. We need to look at this stuff.
It's a third party that would have every single thing Hillary was doing. Now, Hillary, being the ultra paranoid freakazoid that she is like, we're not going to rely on some third-party company to have everything. I need to have everything. So let's buy some servers, put it in a bathroom somewhere.
Claimed she had one under oath. Claimed she had one. Comes to find out, it's at least 2, maybe 3.
Oh, boy. And maybe even in multiple locations.
Yes, it was.
On private property,
correct.
Not on some public company's site or whatever, in somebody's bathroom or whatever. Was it
in a bathroom closet.
But it wasn't her personal bathroom. Was it?
No, it was somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was somebody that was like a close confidant.
Oh, yeah, that agreed to take the duffel bag and knew they would show up dead.
Here's why having a private server that you own on your own private property or private property of somebody who is a very close confidant, why that's not secure. Because in order to be hooked up to the internet, you are hardwired. Your server is hardwired to the internet and is subject to any hackers that may be anywhere in the whole entire world.
Here's how dumb she is. I mean, this is God's honest truth. This is how dumb she is. Other than saying it was wiped clean, what do you mean, like with a cloth?
With a cloth? You know that was told to her.
When she was under oath, she was asked about the servers, and she said that, oh yeah, the servers where the Secret Service agents were, and then under oath, he said to her, he replied back to her, it wasn't Shavitz, it might have been Gowdy, one of the two, and he replied back to her, ma'am, why did you just tell me that Secret Service men were at your place where the server is?
Uh-oh. Why
would you even say? And she fumbled around and bumbled around. But looking at the whole conversation, you could see she told Congress under oath that the server was secure. And by the way, we had Secret Service in there too. Like, she really believed
that you have to physically show up on site to get the stuff.
Well, the only thing she can remember because she's got Alzheimer's, Tourette's, all that stuff.
I know
she's
nobody
losing it.
wiped it clean because I told the Secret Service agents who were actually guarding it not to let anybody near that thing with a cloth.
Don't wipe it. No. Remember
Not even if it's dusty.
Remember back in the day when we first got cable?
Yeah.
How did your parents prevent you from flipping through the channels and going to HBO when it was, like adult risque? There was a physical key.
Yeah, right. I remember
in the box.
There's a box with a key in it.
Yes.
Well, I always thought the key was for if you want to do, because back then it was really big. Boxing matches were pay-per-view.
Oh.
Yeah, that was big. And I remember doing this because we could never get pay-per-view. And they did movies and stuff like that.
Right.
If you wanted a movie, you could do a pay-per-view. But, we weren't buying anything.
No.
We would get in trouble. Well, I convinced either my mom or my dad to let me buy a Mike Tyson fight.
Wow.
And I remember cranking that key. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to turn it.
The key finally gets to move.
Yeah. And it was a 90-second fight, and it was a big waste of money.
Right. Well, I don't know if you remember this, going even further back. My dad's first PC. Well, it wasn't. It was just a computer.
Was it an Apple II?
No. It was a Texas Instrument.
Oh, my gosh.
No.
It was an IBM?
Yeah, it had no.
It was a mainframe.
Right. It had no OS. It had no operating system at all.
What? It was, you had to put the cards in it. It read cards for.
Or you could type in DOS.
Oh, my goodness.
To do something. Okay. To secure that computer, there was a key that you could lock it. To lock it.
So that people didn't walk up to it and say, oh, look, a computer.
Well, your computer's secure now. Nobody can get it.
Okay, so the point of this long tangent that we went on.
It's a reason
was to point out that you don't physically secure a server. It has to be secured through the software because hackers come in through the wires that you hooked up to it.
With the Secret Service, guys won't stop that.
I can't even believe that she tried to go down that
Yes!
road. She did go down the road of wiping it clean, which you could tell somebody said, yeah, you're an old lady. You're like an old grandma. Everybody will believe you if you play stupid.
Right.
Like this is millennials telling her this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll totally buy it. Just say, what do you mean, like with a cloth? The thing is, she hasn't got a very good poker face.
No.
She did not sell it. She was like, what do you mean, like with a cloth?
She is so freakishly uncomfortable.
Because she knew that she was going to tell a whopper there.
Right.
And she knew that nobody was going to buy it. But the millennials actually were correct. If she really sold it, I think a lot of people would have been like, look, she's like 70.
Gotta give her a pass, man. Gotta give her a pass.
Right. She's just a woman.
Oh, no.
Dude, they were going to go down that road. For her to sit there and say, what do you mean? Like with a cloth? Do you know they were trying to play the dumb woman card?
Right.
They were going to play all the cards.
Oh, yeah.
And she couldn't sell it because she's like the queen of feminism, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She couldn't go down that road.
No, insane. So here's the second half of that sound clip that we're talking about with the emails and the whole Clinton Foundation, MSNBC spilling the beans on Hillary, and Colin Powell saying, no, I don't remember telling you anything. Well, I did send you an email, but I ain't got that no more.
Secretary Clinton's campaign stuff.
We've got another interesting development on something else that's been overshadowing her campaign. It was announced last night that the Clinton Foundation will no longer take foreign or corporate donations if Hillary Clinton becomes president. Bill Clinton is no longer going to be doing paid speeches. Why the shift? Why now?
Well, the foundation, the Clinton campaign, was coming under a lot of pressure, particularly in light of recent emails, which seem to show some overlap between aides at the Clinton Foundation and the State Department, that they were trying to set up meetings and conversations with donors to the Clinton Foundation, and it raised questions about whether or not there was some type of a quid pro quo. That is something that Clinton officials have long pushed back against, but the political firestorm that it was causing was overshadowing her campaign, as you pointed out, was feeding into those trust issues. So this is an attempt to turn the page, but there are still critics who say that if Secretary Clinton is elected president, the foundation should close. Steph.
If it was doing good work, why would you close it? Why couldn't somebody else staff it?
Right. Well, Clinton is not saying they're going to close it. She's saying that people are saying, other supporters are saying, you need to shut it down.
Because it's doing it's not doing anything what a nonprofit charitable organization should
to benefit human beings. No, it is doing one thing and one thing only, enriching the Clintons and the people around them to the tunes of hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Can you believe the audacity of her releasing her tax forms and bragging about how 10% of her income has been going to charities when, like, more than 75% of all of that money that she donated went to the Clinton Foundation, which only exists to enrich her.
Well,
70 cents or 75 cents of every dollar that's donated to that goes directly into either her pocket or her special interests.
That's crazy. That's crazy money. And the hundreds of millions that they got paid through Russia, the uranium one connected to the Russian government.
And they want to go after Paul Manafort. Whatever.
Yeah, that whole thing with Paul Manafort is just a crock. It's a shame. But there is one other kind of MSNBC slipped a little bit this week when they were talking about Hillary. And it's no surprise to us, but this is a real quick soundbite. Listen to the commentator at the very end of this 15-second soundbite.
Doing what they call in politics freezing pockets, because the donors are giving her money thinking she's going to run. That means they're not going to have available money for other candidates if she doesn't, and I don't think she's going to give it to them.
She's on her way to deciding.
We'll see.
About deciding.
We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know what I mean? She's got just a free...
What? What? Did he just say that? That's unbelievable. Well, it's believable. It's totally believable.
MSNBC.
They're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's just like when the DNC leaks came out. I remember thinking, wow, this is so groundbreaking. This is going to be a tectonic shift or whatever. You know, this is just going to be huge.
Right.
Turns out, and this is what I thought was going to happen. I thought that the media was going to be like, wow, we are caught with our pants not down by our ankles.
What?
In some other zip code.
Whoa!
Their pants are gone, and they got caught red-handed. We need to tone it down. We need to reestablish our credibility. I thought that's what was going to happen. No, it turns out, and we've reported on this. I've reported everywhere on this, Twitter, our show, everywhere. They have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and quintupled down on what their real function is, which is to get Hillary Clinton elected.
Correct.
They said, you know what? We don't care. You know, it was like if go back to the analogy, if you're caught with your pants down, you just become the guy with his pants down.
Oh, my pants are down?
You don't grab it and pull it back up, and you don't pull it back up real quick and say, oh, I'm so sorry, folks. I did not mean to expose myself like that. I'm going to make sure, and I promise to you from here on out, that my pants will remain up. They will stay up, they will remain up, and they will never be down by my ankles again. No, they kicked their pants off of their ankle like it was wrapped around the bottom of their shoe.
Right.
They kicked it off and said, that's right! And I dare you to say anything about it.
Because this is how I roll.
And start doing the helicopter and...
Whoa! Helicopter dance. Helicopter dance.
It was the Rafflecopter. Oh,
wow. Thank you, JT. JT and Saturday Night Live. God bless it.
Not even a box or anything.
No. No, that's crazy.
That's what they did, and it's shocking. And for him to say, hey, we can't even help him any more than we did already, is just more evidence.
Right.
More evidence.
And as blatant as they are, it seems that nobody's going after them. Nobody's doing anything to stop them. An article came out this week. Clinton aids, Clinton taps illegal alien. So someone who's in the country illegally. The Clinton campaign meets with her, sets it up with her, and shows her how to get the vote out with George Sorors funding.
Brian, I mentioned you on Twitter this week when somebody actually tweeted me something, and I just want to hear it out of the horse's mouth.
I don't know nothing.
You just recently come back from, a couple years ago, from L.A.
Oh, yeah.
And you were there for an entire decade.
Yeah.
So you had become an established SoCal guy.
Right. I was thoroughly scarred.
So you got to tell us. You got to tell us because you were there. Is it possible for an illegal immigrant to, what can they do? What can you get away with as an illegal alien down there?
You do anything you want. You can do anything and everything you want. And when I was there, this thing called motor voter was not in play because all the citizens kept voting no on illegals getting driver's license.
Well, let me back you up a little bit. Let's just take this step by step. You owned a business. You were a distributor of a business that in order to hire people, you were required to have either a social security number, or I think you might have been able to also have an EIN, which is an employee, which is a tax code.
If I paid them through the payroll company, we used ADP. So if I paid them through the payroll company with a check, well, yeah, the payroll company would use their information and give it to the IRS. However, if you just gave them $10 an hour and guaranteed lunch.
Well, no, what about the electronic thing when you were in Monavie?
Right.
In order to get the downline going.
Oh, right.
It required you to log in and type in a social security number.
Okay. Well, if you
in that case, how do you do that?
Well, if you're illegal and you're in Cali, you go to a city called HP, Huntington Park, and there's an office there. You give them $110.
Okay.
And they'll give you a driver's license.
What?
And a social security card.
And you're an illegal alien.
Yeah.
Was this a federal or was this just state?
No, just an office.
So this is probably something Cali's doing.
Yeah, just an office.
Which is why they have such an unbelievable illegal immigrant problem.
There were offices downtown L.A. with big signs on them that said immigration, IDs, paperwork, stuff. You could go in there, and it looked like a rundown. You know what it looked like? It reminded me of what a pawn shop, like a rundown pawn shop that's not well kept.
There's just products all over the place.
Correct, and the sign was sort of hand painted, with a roller. Wow. it's just shade. It looked like a federal agent should walk in there and snoop around. They should
walk in there and say, "Shut this down."
Right, but they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to just.
You would think if this was something that was legitimate, state sanctioned or something like that there would be nice office furniture and a really expensive sign, but that's not the case.
No, not at all. The shadier it looked, the more likely an illegal would go in there.
Oh, that makes so much sense now.
If it was cleaned up and professional looking,
they'd be too scared to go in.
I can't go in there. That's not for me.
Interesting.
It's all about the persona. It is no problem at all for an illegal to work in California. You just go to these places, and you can ask on the streets, where do I go? Anybody on the street, just ask them, hey, where do I go? I need my ID, need my papers.
Back to the motor voter thing. everybody around the country, except for those in Cali that know better, when they hear about motor voter registration, they think, oh, well, when somebody gets old enough to vote and they want to go and now they get their driver's license.
Right.
That, oh, by the way, wouldn't it be a really efficient thing to have the voter registration right there with the driver's license? And that seems like an efficient way to do things. And everybody around the country is like, oh, yeah, that's not a problem. But what you're saying is...
backdoor deal.
What I'm saying is that they're allowing illegal immigrants to have American driver's licenses.
Okay, before they were voting on this for years, and every time it came up to vote, it was shot down. No. They cannot have... Yeah, but, they're going to... And this is the whole condom... giving condoms to children theory.
The condoms to children's theory.
This is what the libs do. And they said, well, they're driving anyways. They can't get insurance.
Right.
They're driving without insurance, and they're hitting people. They're causing millions of dollars of damage. Let's just give them licenses. They are mandatory to get insurance. And look, we all get paid.
Problem solved. And money in our pockets, right?
Right.
So that I understand the logic behind it. It's because, as by the way, I was just on the phone with Intellectual Frog Legs. He said they need to. There's no cracking down on the fact that there's illegals here in the first place, and so in a roundabout way, I can't blame them for going down this road because it
was easy to sell. It was an easy sell,
right? Because as long as we start with the established fact that we don't have any enforcement of illegal immigration, if you start with that premise, then selling them on letting illegals have American driver's licenses makes sense. Because it's like we got a problem and we need to solve it flat out. Okay?
Correct.
So that being said, how does this go into illegal, or I should say voting? We got illegals voting.
Well, here's the problem.
Because I think people around the country just cannot believe that's even possible.
Right. Well, here's the thing. They pushed and pushed for this so hard in California that after I left, this was sometime after 2012. This is very recent. Governor Jerry Brown, who was the governor of California back in the 70s and was literally run out of the country. Like he was,
whole country?
He was so bad
that we had to get an Austrian to come take over, right?
Correct. So all of a sudden, fast forward 20 years, 30 years, and Jerry Brown, hey, man, I'm back. And then like, oh, we remember Jerry Brown. Right.
That sounds so familiar.
Sounds okay. Well, we'll vote Jerry Brown. And lo and behold, signs off, illegal to open carry guns in public. Illegal, right off the bat. Second thing, pushes hard and gets it passed. Illegals can have driver's license.
And so they did that.
Yes.
Now, motor voter. If you are an illegal, you have a driver's license, you're going to go get it renewed. Can you register to vote?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, because you're there. You just check the box, I vote.
So California is just like, you know what? I know they're illegal. We're treating them as if they're not. We're a whole sanctuary state.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. They are a sanctuary state.
And we're going to let them drive with American California driver's licenses.
Right.
Screw it. I dare them to stop me. We're going to let them vote.
Not only are we going to let them vote, we're not even going to say anything. They're just going to know when you go get a license, you also vote too. And they have people at what they call it the DMV out there. They have people at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles at the office that speak Spanish interpreters for them and will help them. They'll be we're impartial. We're not going to sway them either way, but we will ask them, would you like to sign up to vote? You can get more money.
But more money? Are they paying them to vote?
No, I don't know. But the other thing too that a lot of people don't know: welfare, food stamps, cash aid assistance, housing,
you were telling
living,
me all about that.
Section 8,
they get
all of that.
So much of that.
All of that.
My dad was telling me about how they were coming out with this law that allowed for illegals to get, I think it was something to the effect of $5,000 maybe a month or a year or something like that.
Right.
Well, they decided that since we were going to allow illegals who come here to get $5,000 every single year that they stay here, that illegals that have been here for many, many years need back pay.
Oh,
you didn't hear about that?
Yeah, I think your dad had mentioned it.
There were illegal immigrants who have been here for 10 years that were going to get like $50,000. All they had to do was prove that they were in here
illegally 10 years ago.
And so they could go back, if they have them, and find pay stubs. They could go 10 years back.
Pay stub, they would have to have been using an illegal social, illegal driver's license, or just being paid on the tip. Anyhow, all that money that they would get would have to come back to the federal government because they would be arrested for a felony for committing a crime and they shouldn't even been here.
Right.
Ah, makes me so mad. And then 2 weeks ago we reported how the Obama department, 70% of refugees coming to America, 70% are on cash assistance, food stamps, government assistance, in some shape, form, or another. And the majority of them get preferential treatment, so it's expedited, and they usually get more than what their other counterparts get.
Why?
We got to help them. They're poor. They got nothing.
Because they're illegal, they get more.
They got nothing. Well, these are the refugees coming from Syria.
Yeah, let me tell you something about refugees. There is no legal way to get them out of here once they're here. No, it's not like illegal immigration. These people will be here totally legally, and there's no provisions whatsoever. You cannot send them back to Syria at all. And the reason is because, and it makes sense when you think about it logically, if you grant a foreign person refugee status, you're saying, hey, we know you're in so much danger, you and your family, that we're going to just allow you to just come here and be here to escape from that danger. Therefore, you can no longer at any future time say, okay, well, you know what, we're sending you back because we decided to change our mind, or we decided we can't have you here. What happens is then you went from saying, hey, we're going to save you by getting you out of this dangerous situation, to we're going to let you die because we're putting you back in the very dangerous situation.
War-torn.
Yeah, that we saved you from. It's not like, well, you know what, you just can't be in America. It just cannot happen. If you grant them refugee status, there is no legal way to get them out. It's as hard, if not harder, to get them out of the country than it is a U.S. citizen.
Well, look at the whole Cuban thing. And I'm nothing bad about Cuba, but if you don't know, and I think it's widely known, I mean, we've talked about this when we were kids, and it's been portrayed in movies. If you are a Cuban refugee, if you will, meaning yours...
And they were always given refugee status because we hated Castro.
Well, a communist state. He's destroying the country, and he's literally running for the fear of his life. Okay, so if you use that rubber underall spray and you spray the underneath of a 57 Chevy and you float it out into the Gulf Stream and you catch the Gulf thing and you head towards Florida, if you can get out of that Chevy and swim and physically touch the beach, you are 100% safe.
Right.
You are granted immunity
it was like
status.
Automatic amnesty.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are 100. That is the rule. If they touch the sand, they're green lit or green carded, whatever you want.
Green card. They're green carded.
Right. So the big thing was that the boats would be out in the bay there, just monitoring to stop them from touching the sand.
Right.
So that being said, how do you say that these refugees, and they're being shipped over, by the way, in government jets.
Unbelievable.
They're being flown over in aircraft, landing on American soil, You couldn't get a Cuban refugee out of here. How do you think you're going to get a Syrian refugee out of here? And they're slated for 100,000. I believe it's somewhere in the 20s of thousands so far. I mean, it's thousands that have already been brought.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's really terrible because we don't really know what the heck they're coming here for. Did you see the little boy that got his picture taken or video of him? He's a Syrian kid. He looks like he's probably about 5 years old, and he's completely covered in blood and dust from like bomb blasts. But he's not injured enough to where he needs medical attention. But he's got blood on him, and who knows if it's his blood or what. And you can't even hardly recognize him as a human being because he's so covered in dust. And his hair is just in every direction. You haven't seen that?
No.
No, it's like a viral. But he's a Syrian refugee. The guy who took the picture of him was I don't know, maybe in his 30s, Muslim from Syria or from that area, Middle East. And the entire world is using this image to pull at American heartstrings to get them to ship over their army to attack America, I guess.
What's the propaganda? It's the whole thing. It's just like Sally Struthers back in the 80s. Won't you please lend a hand for her foundation to feed the children? I understand people are starving in other countries, and that is primarily because of their oppressive governments that are out to, just destroy, conquer, and destroy, conquer, and destroy. We can't be the police of the world. We just cannot be.
I'm showing Brian the picture.
Oh,
it's
okay.
all over the place.
Wow.
It's like super ultra viral.
Right.
Ultra viral.
Wow.
Blown up.
I mean, a lot of this, not a lot of this, Trump even said that Obama and Hillary, the founders of ISIS, the founders of this complete and upending of the entire Middle East, Obama, Hillary, Russia's involved. It's some breaking news this week on Russia and what Russia's doing. Folks, World War III is currently underway, escalating very, very fast. And this is just kind of a side note because I brought it up. But Russia is now sending troops to the border of Ukraine. They're starting to gear up for war. Reports were said that Obama is moving nuclear warheads closer to that area. It's just an absolute nightmare in the Middle East. That being said, that doesn't mean that they get a free pass to come here. It's not a nightmare here.
Nobody has the right to come here, and we actually do have the right to tell you that whether or not we're welcoming you in or not.
I am fortunate, and we are fortunate. By the grace of God, we are fortunate that we were born here in America, the land of the free.
Let me take your guilt away from you.
No. I don't have guilt.
I could hear it.
I don't have guilt. No, but I will fight and die to keep and maintain the freedom I've been afforded. I will appreciate it. I will own it. I will teach it to my children, and we will fight to protect it. If I was born in a Mexico or a third world country or the Middle East, I would do whatever I had to do to get out of that area to go find another place. I understand that. That doesn't mean that you illegally go somewhere else.
Well, I mean, they're just taking their chances.
Well, and when Obama puts in a sign that says "open for business," enter here, and you get on a 747 and you fly to America.
Yeah, so the risk becomes a lot less because you're being invited in by the president.
Well, and Angela Merkel over there in Germany this week said Muslims are us. They deserve to be in Germany.
This week, I thought she got destroyed when the Syrian crisis started months and months ago. She's the one that said we pledge to take 500,000.
She's still the president. They hate her. They want to impeach her. They want to remove her, and yet she's doubling down on Muslims being here in Germany. They need to come. They need to be here. We need to treat them with respect.
And what's the first thing they do? The first thing they do, they get to Germany and they see the lederhosen and the boobs crushed in, smashed together in those whatever they're wearing, and they're like, whoa, this is not cool. We demand that you cover up. Right. That's what they do. Right. And you know what? They better not be trying that stuff in America.
And you would think that France would learn, and maybe they have a little bit.
Oh, they're starting to come out. Didn't they come out? Okay, it's one thing to tell the Syrians or whatever country they're from in the Middle East, Islamic country, Islamic people, to say it's one thing to come out with a law saying you're not allowed to tell somebody that they can't wear a bikini. That's one thing. They took it the next step.
Right. You cannot say that bikini needs to go away. You can't wear that.
My point is that it's one thing to come out with a law prohibiting somebody from saying you can't wear that bikini.
Okay. That makes sense.
But they took it another step and said you're not allowed to wear. You are not allowed, no longer allowed to wear an Islamic bathing suit on the beaches in France.
Burkini.
But
you are not allowed.
Pretty much. I saw a couple people at Kings Island here wearing those in the water park.
No.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Wow. It's basically the only skin that's shown is the oval shape of the face is exposed. So the fabric goes all the way around the face. So all your hair is covered, your neck and all that's covered. Just your face is showing, and just your feet. So pretty much from the ankles all the way up to your chin, and then all of your hair completely covered.
Wow.
So that's a burkini. Well, they're banned in France. I personally don't agree with that. If you want to look like a ninja, I think you should be allowed to look like a ninja.
At the swimming pool.
Right. Unless there's a worry that being dressed like that can conceal something that could be dangerous.
Okay. Well,
and they may have a leg to stand on, but I still have an argument against it.
Well, the big thing is that they wanted to take a hard stance after all the mass killings by Muslims. Islamic
backlash.
Is Islamic practicing Muslims that are raping, pillaging, murdering, killing, stealing. And they're told to do this in the Quran. Read it. It's in there. All of it's in there. This is what they're supposed to do in the Quran. So I know Trump is saying again and again and again, we're going to do something about this. We're going to make America secure. We're going to send them back. Obama lost in the courts where they said, no, it is illegal for you to just executive order amnesty. But folks, it doesn't matter if nobody's enforcing the law.
Right. We've said this on many shows here. Our laws, all rules for humans in society, in civilization, are largely enforced I shouldn't say enforced. They're followed. They're adhered to voluntarily.
Right.
Like I stay on the right side of the double yellow line just voluntarily.
Correct.
I don't swerve in an S pattern on the wrong side of the road until a cop comes and tells me to stop doing that.
What? You mean you can do that?
You could, but it would be illegal.
Oh.
But there might not be a cop for miles and miles.
So I can get away with it.
Right.
Okay.
But you don't do it.
Right.
Because you've decided to voluntarily adhere to the law.
Right. So like if you see the speed limit or even don't know the speed limit, you naturally drive at a speed where you can control yourself, your vehicle. If you're on back streets, you might go a little bit slower than you are on the freeway.
Speed limits might be a bad example because most people voluntarily stay within 10 miles.
No, but there you go. There you go, though. That represents they will stay within
plus or minus 10 miles an hour.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
More like plus, not minus.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But the whole thing is that you do, every once in a while, you will see this. People may do 100 miles an hour.
I saw that yesterday. I was driving 75 northbound.
Right.
And
I thought you meant you were doing 75.
No, I was on 75 northbound.
At 55 miles an hour.
Well, there was congested.
Okay.
But there's a lane that's an exit only, and it's Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
It goes on for like 2 miles.
I don't even know why they put that stupid ass.
So we're all just kind of congested in the left 3 lanes. And I'm looking down, and I'm going a good 65, 70. Okay?
Wow. That's
in
a
the exit
good
only
clip.
lane?
Yes.
At least 95. Least.
Okay. So, but how often do you see that compared to how often do you see people stay at the limit?
Well, most of the time people are just trying to stay
I would say 90 to 95% of the people I see obey that law for the most part.
Right.
You know? So, and like we're saying, if people obey the laws, then laws are respected, then we will have that peaceful
We'll have
life.
a well-oiled machine called civilization.
Correct.
So,
however, the law enforcement arm will be there and present, but the law enforcement arm to govern Obama has been gone. There is no enforcement
I
arm.
learned something about the Obama presidency that actually scares me about civilization in general. I mean, all of human civilization. It's scary. Well, America. I'll say America. Maybe not all of civilization, but definitely America as you know it. It turns out... Oh, and by the way, I'm going to lump Hillary in on this too.
Okay.
Because of what happened with Comey.
Oh, yeah.
Turns out the laws really don't matter at all, which, everybody kind of intuitively knew that with the Comey thing. But what really matters is, what are they going to let me get away with? That's all that matters.
Right.
So the laws serve as kind of like it's like the lines painted on the road. And everybody just kind of, I'll voluntarily stay in my lane. Because just in case I could get busted for it, could get maybe injured, maybe damage property. But it turns out that Obama decided, there's nothing stopping this car from going 160.
Well, the speedometer says 100 and something.
Right. So we got to find out if that's just there for show or if it's for real. So he floors it. And meanwhile, everybody's like, well, I know he's not supposed to be speeding, but he's not hit anything yet. So we'll just keep letting him do it. And for 8 years, it's been kind of scary to see. Oh, and by the way, they don't want to pull him over because they're like, well, he's black. And if we pull him over, it's going to look like we're pulling him over because he's black. And that's scary because he actually is doing 160.
Wow.
And meanwhile, Hillary Clinton is not only doing 160, she's in the wrong side of the highway going the wrong way, and she's clipping people and continuing without stopping.
Right. So it's
called a hit and run.
It's so bad that at times citizens may try and block the road to help the cops out. That's how
the
bad
cops are like, yeah, but I wasn't really trying to pull her over. Meanwhile, citizens are like, dude, we gotta
help the cops out.
Right.
Apparently,
and they are. And but it's not working though. So far.
So I know I didn't report on this, but it was in a stack of stuff a couple of weeks ago. There was a submarine sailor, who took pictures inside 6 pictures inside
I heard about this.
Okay. So he's being charged, and we'll go.
Well, by the way,
probably go to jail for a while.
Neither of us were in the Navy, but I have friends that were in the Navy, and I could tell you this:
you have friends that were in the Navy.
They were in the Navy and
sailing the 7 seas.
One of them definitely fit the stereotype. So anyway,
was that the one that came out that you were just blown away? You were like,
I was angry
because everybody told you it was true, and you didn't believe it, and then finally he admitted it.
I was angry because I put a lot of effort in defending him. I did. I was like, guys.
Dude, that's why he kept you around.
Whatever. I was like, guys, I don't see him with men. He doesn't hit on anybody that I see. What are you guys talking about? I was like, I'm getting kind of pissed off that you guys are prejudging him. Oh, yeah, I was defending him. And then he came out to me, and I'm just like, What? Oh, I was so mad. I was like, do you know how much I defended you?
Carrie, how did you not know?
How did you not
I mean, you and I, here alone, having dinner, candle lit, soft music in the background.
Right.
Drinking wine out of real crystal glasses.
Grooming me.
Yeah.
He was grooming me. He was all right. He was a really good guy. He may actually listen to this one day.
Yeah.
Not likely though, because in fact he probably would. He's probably disowned me long ago because not only is he liberal, but I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago, I heard he was running for office in Oregon on the Democrat side.
Oh, of course.
Some local office, but he's a definitely far left liberal as far as what I could see. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to him again one day and he'll be like, "Nah, dude, I'm totally right wing."
I changed.
There are gay people. Milo, totally
Milo
flamer.
Is absolutely, and there are a lot of conservatives that will tell you with fact, make the case. The Democrat Party is the party that will mentally and maybe even physically still enslave you. The freedom of thought, the freedom of speech, the freedom to live your life the way you want it is the Republican Party, the way we're pushing with the Tea Party and Trump.
Well, the America that conservatives are trying to make great, I think this is the exact...
They're using the Republican Party to do that. Us conservatives,
well, what I'm saying is
grassroots,
is the great America that the conservatives are trying to make by electing Trump is the same great America that you will be living in as a gay man,
right,
or as a gay woman, or as a black man,
LGBTQ,
any kind of minority whatsoever. This is an America you guys will be living in, and it'll be great for you.
LGBTQS.
What did Trump call it?
S stands for sympathizers.
Oh, okay. All right.
It lumps
means
everybody. Yes.
Well, not really, because you could be a total bigot, so you're not sympathizing.
No, that's the B part. LB, bigots.
Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, Brian got me good. That was a good one. Oh. So yes, it covers everything.
So back to our Navy guy in the submarine.
Not my friend.
No,
he wasn't in the submarine.
This other dude took 6 pictures on his cell phone. And let me tell you, back when we were in, there were no such things as cell phones.
The whole point of getting off on the tangent, though, was to point out that we know, based on seamen that have told us, that you're not allowed to take pictures because all that stuff is classified.
Oh no! Even working on we worked on the flight line.
Yeah, and they were sticklers about taking pictures.
Oh no, taking pictures! Could you imagine if I took pictures of the F-16 integral parts, landing gear, maybe take pictures of the TCTO? That's the manual on what to do and how to put together. Take pictures of that, dude. That's espionage.
Right. I took a video of inside the cockpit. I still have it. And one thing that I did, I was very cognizant of this. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was, at all times while I was videotaping, don't let any part of the frame of the picture that was go across any controls whatsoever. And I did. I made sure that the controls were none of the switches, none of the buttons, none of the
I don't
lights,
even know if that's legal.
It is. You can't have any of that in.
So
another thing, too, I actually got a photo of myself in the cockpit from outside. The camera was outside.
Oh, okay.
In order to get that done, I had to go through S2.
Oh.
Which is intelligence for your squad.
Right.
So I had to go tell them, hey, I'd like to get a glamour shots, like a professional photograph.
Did you just say glamour shots?
Well, it looked like a glamour shot.
Oh my god!
And it was at night. It was like right before it was the sunset, and there was it looked like a glamour shot.
Yeah, but the only way to have a glamour shot, you have to be 46 years old.
No.
4 kids and a woman.
No, glamour shots is for the. That's where you went for your yearbook photos.
That's when That's when your life took a turn and you wanted to regain your youth.
Oh, no. Where they put sparkles in your hair and stuff like that. No, okay, so glamour shots came to the flight line. No, I'm just kidding. It was just a guy with a nice camera.
Okay.
And I had to tell our intelligence office that we wanted to do this. And they gave us the thumbs up. And even when I went out there and this guy had the flash and everything, there were some eyebrows raised. Like, what's this guy doing? But no, we had it. We were all on the up and up.
So this seaman in the nuclear sub.
Yeah.
The shape of the sub. He was in this long sub. He took 6 pictures with a cell phone.
Okay.
And he's being charged.
What did he do with the pictures?
Apparently, he took
Selfie!
the pictures. Right.
He put it on Facebook on his profile. No, I don't know. I'm just saying that. I don't know. Are you looking?
He was able. He took them so that he could show his family.
Right.
Well, I didn't know if he had emailed. I knew he took them because he wanted to show his family, but I don't know if he emailed them or not. But apparently, they were just in his possession, and somebody found out that he took them, and I guess he was told on. So they were on his camera. They don't know where they went or if they went anywhere, and obviously they would be able to find that out.
So he may not have even done anything.
Possibly. After the whole thing with Comey went down.
Yeah.
He and his lawyer, it's not a public pretender. It would be a lawyer on base.
And I have my own. I have a statement after you're done.
The lawyer said, "Okay, you want to go this route? All right, let's do it. Oh, you got a shot because right now it looks like you're going pretty south." So they're throwing out what's being referred to as the Clinton defense. They're using Hillary's Clinton and Comey's statement that
he didn't intend to perform espionage.
No, he did not intend to do an illegal act of espionage. No.
Right.
The only problem is, and it is a little bit of a different case, he did acknowledge that he shouldn't have done it.
Well, so did Hillary.
No, she just says, looking back, I probably should have done something different.
Which is almost the same thing, isn't it?
Intent. I didn't know at the time it was wrong.
Well, my first initial reaction is good for him. And here's the thing about law, especially with regards to...
My baby was...
Whoa, what was that? With regards to the judges, judicial part of law, is that there's something called precedent. And precedent is important because it prevents the same damn thing from being brought up to trial every single time it comes up.
Well, and you can use...
A precedent
has been set.
Right.
And you can use that again and again as a lawyer. Hey, Your Honor, I just want to let you know, out of the millions and millions of cases that have been ruled on, over here in Tashawahanki, Florida, there was a case 150 years ago that went this way, and the judge ruled yes, green light.
And he ruled it because of this, and they'll have the statement and everything.
All of it, and say, this is why he said yes, this is why it went. Your Honor, because that went like that, I'm saying that this case today should be ruled the same way.
Yeah, that's called precedent. And even more high profile would be like Roe v. Wade. You can't ever take anything to court with regards to abortion ever again because everybody knows the precedent was set with Roe v. Wade, and that's it. And nothing. They will throw everything out because the precedent's been set. Right. Because of what happened between Comey and Clinton, thanks to a large chunk of money that probably originated with George Soros into the pocket of Comey, it should, if law is supposed to go the way it's supposed to go, that all cases that can't be shown to have intent will be thrown out from here going forward.
Right. Absolutely. You can argue it. The judge may or may not agree with you, but you can argue it all day long.
The precedent's been set.
And that's what you keep saying. Now, there's many different websites are saying there's a surge in the use of the Clinton defense. And
ladies and gentlemen of the supposed jury.
Check this out. And I can't claim any... I can only claim that I'm repeating this, and I did put the video up on our Facebook account, so you can always go back and watch. Stay with us.
I want the Chewbacca defense.
Allen West, right after the Supreme Court redefined the word marriage.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To meaning all-inclusive. Not only that, but the Supreme Court said all 50 states must recognize
the new definition.
The new definition, because one state says it, all states must recognize it. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
Alan West literally the next day came out with an article and said the Supreme Court may have just unleashed the Second Amendment for all time.
Second Amendment?
Because one state, make it Texas, make it whatever state it is, there's no law saying you have to have a permit for any reason whatsoever to have a gun because of the Second Amendment.
Right.
That one state says it, all the states must do exactly what that state does. So people having to apply for a permit to carry a gun, sorry, go to court and plead. 1, Texas is doing it, and 2, it's been set precedent nationwide by the Supreme Court. Done. Closed case.
There you go.
So I don't need a permit.
Well, have you ever heard, this is very common amongst NRA, Second Amendment advocates, where they'll have like a meme and say, you want my permit? This is my permit! And they pull out the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or whatever. And that's actually true. Your right to bear arms is written right there in the Second Amendment, and any attempt to infringe upon those rights in the way of registration, background check, anything whatsoever is actually unconstitutional.
Correct.
So,
anyways, I thought that was pretty neat, pretty significant. That why we're talking about precedent being set.
I mean that's at the highest level too. We're talking a federal thing. We're not even talking about some guy in some court somewhere in some little municipality said this, so now it must be applied to all 50 states. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the Secretary of State, the Director of the FBI, all of the above. I mean, this is all-encompassing. This is national implications. Right. I think now that they should slap them both in the face by making you have to improve intent in order to bust anybody for any crime.
Dude, we got... Well, I mean, here's the problem, though. The problem is the prosecuting attorney has to bring intent before they prosecute naturally. That's what has to be done in a court case. She's saying, I didn't intend to do it because I didn't know. Right. And Comey is like, yeah, she didn't know.
Right.
She didn't mean it. And because she said she didn't mean it, then there's no intent. That's what Comey said. I can't prove intent because she said she had no intent.
He doesn't need to prove intent. All he needs to prove is that her actions was in violation of a law.
Correct. And shows intent.
No. Doesn't need to show any intent. Does not need to.
Oh man, we got some problems.
What?
The government. This whole government thing. This whole
crime.
Here's the thing. This crime spree.
I'm trying to remember where I said this.
On Capitol Hill.
I should probably write an article about this. But here's the history of intent, in my opinion. It may be wrong, but I think it's almost self-evident. I think the reason people are confused and think that intent is required in order to be in violation of the law is because what's always in the news, what's always high profile, it's always murder cases. Well, the actual charge of murder, first-degree murder, requires intent, because if you can't prove intent, then it drops down to either like a second or third degree or manslaughter.
If you hit somebody with your car that ran out into the street
and you killed them,
mm-hmm. You could be charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Right. So here's where people get confused. They hear all about murder. Everybody knows all these little nuances of murder because there's always these high-profile cases that are being tried, like you got your O.J. Simpson and all that kind of stuff. And so they learn about the need to prove intent, which is why whenever you see the jury They do the live coverage of the jury standing up and saying they go down each of the charges, each of the counts, and they announce whether or not they're guilty or not guilty. And for first-degree murder, we find the defendant, Brian Smith, not guilty. And then everybody gasps. And then you hear the commentator voiceover, oh, they must not have been able to prove intent. I bet you they go for the manslaughter. And then for manslaughter, we find the defendant, Brian Smith, guilty. And so they're like, okay, it was just the thing of intent. Here's the problem. Those specific charges specifically require you to prove intent. It confuses everybody on these things such as not being careless with classified documents as all of a sudden needing proof of intent. And it's not true. But people believe it's true because the only thing they know about law is all these high-profile murder cases. And it's confusing the public. We need to just get everybody to get this intent thing out of their head and realize that when you're in violation of a law, the only time intent comes into play is if the word intent is used in the actual law. And if you look up the laws for murder, clearly intent is required in order to get convicted of murder. Does that all make sense?
Oh, yeah. No, that makes complete sense.
Why would a Wookiee, an 8-foot-tall Wookiee, want to live on Endor with a bunch of 2-foot-tall Ewoks? That does not make sense. But more important, you have to ask yourself, what does this have to do with this case? Nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with this case. It does not make sense. If Chewbacca lives on Endor, you must acquit.
That is the Chewbacca defense. If it doesn't make sense that Chewbacca does not live on Endor, it doesn't make sense for this case.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with this case, which is why you have to acquit. This has nothing to do with the case. So we should not be charging this person.
Not at all.
Oh,
not even close. Gosh. So you want to segue into what I thought was the biggest news of the week, but apparently you're telling me Twitter's not trending on it.
I mean, and just quickly, Steve Bannon's motto is...
Honey Badger don't give a shit. After the internet meme that became famous a couple of years ago. You can Google it.
I believe you.
I believe you.
He said that live, and it was not bleeped.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I bleeped it.
You bleeped it.
Well, because I knew you'd probably get mad if I didn't.
Yes, I would.
Okay, so we bleeped it. But he was on MSNBC, and she was trying to expose Stephen K. Bannon, who Donald Trump this week has announced would be the CEO and run it would be the chief officer of the campaign and run the campaign. And apparently everybody lost their minds.
Because he was...
Back in the day...
Well, he's with Breitbart, right? That was the big...
He was one of the he was the CEO and one of the founders of Breitbart.
Right.
Yeah. Very big on freedom of speech, very big on the whole conservative movement, the Tea Party movement, love for America, love for guns, everything we espouse here on Smith Radio, Steve Bannon would approve.
Okay.
And so back in the day, apparently something came up and he said, Honey Badger don't give a beep.
He said that.
Back in the day, referred to himself as Honey Badger.
Well, several years ago, this is how old this is.
It's a way ago. Yep.
Yeah, maybe 3-4 years ago, there was a video that came out. You can find this instantly on YouTube. Type in Honey Badger. That's pretty much all you have to type in. And there's a mega viral video. This video was so viral that T-shirts were being worn by kids that said Honey Badger on it with a picture of a honey badger.
Right.
This was one of the all-time mega. There were memes all over the place with honey badgers on them.
Right.
And basically what it was apparently honey badgers are pretty vicious. I guess you call them a predator. Don't they eat? I think they eat poisonous snakes.
King cobras.
Okay, so honey badgers eat king cobras.
And if a honey badger gets bit by a king cobra, you know what happens to the honey badger?
It makes him mad.
He takes a little nap and sleeps it off.
Forever?
No.
They wake back up.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. King cobras do not. That is their number one predator. Is a honey badger.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with a honey badger.
They eat snakes. They drink venom for breakfast. They wake up in the morning.
Well, and here's the thing. So there was a, I guess it was like a National Geographic type of video, and it was being narrated by a guy that was putting everybody to sleep. And this guy said, "Wow, this honey badger is such an awesome animal, and this narrator is not doing him justice. So I'm going to redub my own commentary over the video."
Okay.
And that's what he did. And it was laced with all kinds of cuss words and like the honey badger don't give a blank and all that kind of stuff. So it was actually kind of hilarious the way this guy did it. And that's why it went viral.
Right. So check this out. If you go to Urban Dictionary, which is what the chitlins of today are learning from.
The millennials and younger.
Right. This is their dictionary, which is not a sanctioned dictionary. No.
It's kind of like a wiki dictionary because people can put in their own little...
Right. So here's the top definition, because there's multiple, but the top number one definition of honey badger. Honey badger is one fearless MF. He is the ultimate bad ASS of the animal kingdom. No one knows what they look like.
What? Nobody knows what they look like.
As anyone who's ever seen one has been immediately killed by said badger.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They would think twice about starting some bleep and are actually totally fearless. When they kill something, usually 100+ kills a day, they crack open their victims' skulls and eat their brains out and digest their thoughts.
That's hilarious.
This makes the honey badger the world's most intelligent, ruthless bleep out there. They will also... Okay, never mind. Oh, look, there's a honey badger. 2.35 seconds later, oh, look, I'm dead.
Okay. All right.
So that's the Urban Dictionary on the honey badger. One bad mofo.
All right.
So apparently... Stephan Bannon is referred to as the honey badger, which, dude, I'm all in on that.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah, that's cool.
I'm like, that's him.
Ben Shapiro would differ.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. We've got some issues with Ben Shapiro.
The guy is smart. He's right up there with your Rush Limbaughs on intelligent level. I mean, he's right. Ann Coulter, Milo, Ben Shapiro. Paul Watson. I mean, these are like the top of the top notch. Krauthammer's up there. I mean, the smartest people in the conservative side. If we were picking like a basketball game,
right,
conservatives versus Democrats, and we had to go to war and debate,
knowledge-wise, yeah,
debate.
Right.
Ben Shapiro is going to be picked somewhere in like the top 5, certainly.
Okay. Well, apparently Ben Shapiro's got some problems. He can't get out of his own way. But the New York Times this week wrote an article and said, "Meet Stephen K. Bannon." And that was the title. And right under the title it said, U.S. Naval officer, Harvard MBA, investment banker, filmmaker, media mogul, populist, establishment outsider.
Wait a minute. You mean he's established as an outsider or he's outside of the establishment?
Everybody's claiming Breitbart has established him as an outsider because of Breitbart.
So the phrase establishment outsider does not make any sense. Because
either you're in it or you're out of it. He's saying
it's an oxymoron.
Well, it's the New York Times. What do you expect? What do you expect? So Madcow, Rachel Maddow.
You got to be careful when you say Madcow because there's an actual radio disc jockey named Madcow.
And a disease called Madcow.
Well, that's fine because I believe that you have to have diagnosed mad cow disease in order to understand what she's saying or to buy into it.
Correct. So Maddow, or Rachel Madcow, had Robby Mook on her show this week. Robby Mook is the guy who heads up the Clinton crime wave. He's in charge of her campaign.
Okay.
This this interview, this thing that they did, went on for 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
This thing that they did.
Right.
Okay.
And here is 12 seconds that will sum up their 6 minute, 40-second talk about Trump, the campaign, and Bannon.
These theories peddles these conspiracy theories. Advance a theory like this.
The conspiracy theory be helping the conspiracy theorists.
Peddles conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories.
Rehashed conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories bizarre and.
That was the first.
What were they referring to?
3.5 minutes. Okay. I did not make it the 6 minute whole. I just clipped that out of the first 3.5 minutes.
Clearly, they have their marching orders, talking points.
Everything that Donald Trump says is a conspiracy theory. He pushes conspiracy theories. Breitbart is a conspiracy theorist. They push conspiracy theories. There's nothing to see here. They're all conspiracy theorists pushing theories of conspiracy in the worlds of theory and conspiracies.
Yeah, conspiracies. There's conspiring.
They are certainly conspiring.
They're clearly conspiring to commit the conspiracy theories.
With conscripts.
So clearly they're trying to muddy the water here with just throwing the label of conspiracy theory on every fact that's being uncovered by conservatives.
Right. So I'm going to have to do this.
Did you hear the latest thing that they called a conspiracy theory? And I don't know why nobody's picking up on this. They're calling Hillary's health a conspiracy theory.
Well, because it's not true. She's just fine.
Well, no.
She doesn't have health.
I'm wondering.
She's ill.
I'm wondering if somebody had given the word to her white blood cells or something. I mean, how do you call the health or lack thereof of somebody a conspiracy theory? How do you conspire to bring somebody's health into...
They're probably saying that she's not sick, and you all are causing this conspiracy theory of illness.
That's called a lie.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, if they want to accuse us of lying, we can go down that path.
Dr. Drew came out this week and said he's gravely... He said this is great. She is in grave danger, and that he's read all these things. They've talked about it, and he said, y'all need to get the proper health care and attention. You guys are going to kill her if you do not get the proper specialists to identify the thing that's happening and fix it. You're going to kill her. He said she's in grave danger.
Well, what's putting her in the grave danger?
The lack of competent health provider.
Well, are you saying that Trump has the requisite competent health provider?
I don't think he's got any. Well, I mean, I don't think he's got any health provider. He's not seeing a doctor. He seems like he's healthy already.
Oh, so you're saying it's her actual health?
Oh, yeah. He said she's in bad health and needs the proper assistance from the proper specialist.
So she's in grave danger because her health is so bad.
Her health is bad, and what's putting her in more grave danger is the campaign and the people around her not getting her the proper health care.
Are you kidding me? There's a guy 1 foot away from her with the EpiPen.
He said that ain't good enough.
It's not good enough?
He said that ain't... That's just for...
It's a flashlight, so when she's knocked out cold on the ground, he could pull open her eyelid with his thumb and put the light in there to see if her pupils are still dilating.
Right. Well, no, the EpiPen is just for fallout. That isn't for cure.
No, this is a flashlight. Yeah, somebody said it. They thought it was a flashlight.
No, okay. Well, I don't know how we got onto this, but yeah, no, she's...
because everybody said that's a
conspiracy
needle.
theory.
Well, they said it was a needle that would stop her epileptic seizure.
A lot of doctors said that's what that was.
But then somebody said, well, it might just be a flashlight that he's holding because we can't verify that it was definitely the pin.
My inside sources.
Oh, wow. We got inside.
All right, I'm lying. It was just an article I read. The guy swore it.
He swore it.
He's like, I practice this. This is what I do. I hand them out like candy. I know what that is.
Seizure pin is handed out like candy.
So check this out. Back to Madcow and Mook. Here's the first few seconds of their talk together. And I'll stop it, and we can talk about what's going on here. But, folks, you've got to understand, and the reason why I'm focused in on Rachel Madcow is because this week she tied in the ranks the viewership of Megyn Kelly. Tied in viewership of 400,000 viewers in primetime TV. And so this is what was going on her show. Half of the people watching her versus half of the people watching Megyn Kelly.
Joining me now is someone who can answer these questions. Robby Mook is here for the interview. He's Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Robby, it's nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
Nice to have you here. So I laid out the case there for why I think it must be a hard call. Why did you make this call?
Well, in this particular case, Donald Trump himself had begun advancing these theories, and the campaign itself had weighed in, and we thought that it was appropriate to just get the facts out there. And as you sort of mentioned in your remarks, this tells you something about the kind of campaign that Donald Trump is running and what kind of president he would be, that he peddles these conspiracy theories. It's very troubling, and it's not fit for someone who wants to be president of the United States. So we wanted to get the facts out there, but also point out how absurd it was that his campaign would even advance a theory like this.
Okay.
That does not make one unpresidential. Oh my gosh!
But he wants to get the facts out. The facts that he's peddling conspiracy theories.
But that's not a fact.
Well,
what conspiracy theories is he referring to?
In all the 6.5 minutes, not one.
They didn't give an example?
Not one.
Oh,
in
you
6 minutes and
kidding
40
me.
seconds, he just continued to hammer again and again the word conspiracy theories. Advancing those theories. Why would he do those things to advance those theories that are just unconscionable?
I guess if you were to demand an example out of him and he were to say, well, to question her health, I guess I could buy them. I could accept them as trying to claim that that's a conspiracy theory. But, I mean, there's evidence that something wrong with her.
Okay. Here's some more of this stuff.
Do you worry that you are further spreading the conspiracy theory that sort of mainstream Americans, people who consume mainstream news sources, wouldn't otherwise hear about, that you might actually be helping the conspiracy theorists get this idea across?
Yeah, because I had no idea that there were conspiracy theories out there. I know there's a lot of facts that make her look like a terrible candidate.
Carrie, she clearly said the conspiracy theories that are being peddled out there by the other sources.
So I need to go out and find out what conspiracy theories they're talking about.
Carrie, they're everywhere.
So I need to go find them.
They're everywhere.
Oh.
So are you not worried that you are in yourself peddling the conspiracy
It's like that scene from The Matrix where the Oracle said, watch out for that vase next to you. And he said, what vase? And he knocked it over. Right. And then she said, what's really going to blow your mind is if I had ever said anything to you, would you have ever knocked it over in the first place?
Whoa.
Yes, that was his reaction.
I know Kung Fu. For the last time, no, you don't.
Well, I think what we're advancing and what we're spreading is that Donald Trump is temperamentally unfit to be president, that he peddles conspiracy theories, and I think that's important for the voters to know. So,
it's important for the voters to know he's temperamental.
Hold on. If they're not buying what he's peddling at this point.
Right.
You know what you didn't know this whole time was that all this stuff you've been hearing was temperamental conspiracy theories. And because of that, I'm telling you right now, you may not know this, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to tell you.
Voters need to know.
The voters need to know. You need to know that he's unfit to be president. Because if I didn't say that, you may not know that he's not unfit, that he's actually fit for president.
Yeah, and now that I've told you,
Now
there's
you know.
conspiracy theories surrounding the Trump campaign. And Trump is peddling more of this stuff than any other candidate in all of human history.
And clearly, you could not have come up with this conclusion on your own, so I have to be the one to tell you.
Folks, I did not edit this audio. This is a fact. This is...
My brain is melting.
Sure, there may be some people out there who think somehow we're reinforcing, this information. But I think what we're doing is making clear the kind of leader that Donald Trump will be and the kind of misinformation he has spread and will continue to spread. We saw today he said he thinks intelligence briefings are not trustworthy. I mean, this is one of many examples where he's just throwing out bizarre and in some cases just totally fabricated theories.
Didn't Trump establish why the intelligence briefings are not trustworthy?
Mook didn't catch that part.
He didn't just say these intelligence briefings, these fuzzy math, whatever. They're just not trustworthy. You should not trust them because I'm Donald Trump and I declare that you should not trust them. No, he explains the intelligence failures and why you should be skeptical. You know, the weapons of mass destructions, and there's a long list of them. Donald Trump is the one in 1999 that tried to tell the whole world in an op-ed in the New York Times that we need to be looking out and watching out and being cautious of this guy named Osama bin Laden and that he's going to be determined to attack America again. In 1999. 2 years before the World Trade Center. Meanwhile, the intelligence briefings didn't make it to the desk. Or if they did make it to the desk. Or maybe they was just
didn't make
no,
never mind. Even if it made it to the desk, didn't mean nothing.
Donald Trump should have been president in 1999 because I promise you, based on that op-ed alone, the World Trade Center would still be standing today.
We'd have a different outlook on...
Mic drop, folks.
We'd have a different outlook on terror. Absolutely.
We should all be saddened by the revelation that had Donald Trump ran in 1996
against Clinton,
been president in all the way through 2000 and up to 2004, that would have been the Donald Trump 8-year president. The World Trade Center would still be standing today. You heard it here first.
Would have been safer, yeah.
That's exclusive.
So Mook needs to listen to more Smith Radio to figure out what's going on, apparently.
Or at least listen to Donald Trump.
Right. Listen to his words.
There have been a lot of conspiracy theories that he's latched onto
over
the years, starting in the modern era of his political persona with President Obama being secretly foreign and not really being born in this country.
By the way, we have not established that to be a fact. And by the way, the truth, even though... Let's say the truth is that he is an American citizen, he's born in America, blah, blah. What we find in discovering that truth is just too much for them to want to give up.
They do not want to give up Marshall Davis. They do not.
Frank Marshall Davis is one. The other one is this. Okay, he's born in America. Why did he get federal aid and state aid for going to college as a foreign exchange student?
Yeah, at Occidental College.
Yeah. Okay. Who does he pay back for that fraudulent activity?
Well, and you know that was the George Soroses of the world that said, hey, we can get you hooked up. Don't worry about this money. We'll get this taken care of by the government.
Yeah, he masqueraded as a foreign-born person in America. And then we're supposed to be the bad guys for wondering whether or not he's eligible to be president of the United States?
And even if he is, that's fine. That's fine. But they did not have to drag it out as long as they did and wreak havoc amongst Republicans and Tea Party members and all of a sudden now calling everybody a birther.
Right. And the whole thing about that, too, with they finally did release something that they claim to be the actual long-form birth certificate, which there's questions about the authenticity of. But let's play along. Let's say it was real. The only reason they released it is because back then, you remember, Donald Trump was just owning the news media by leading the birther movement.
Right.
If he had not done that, and he takes credit, he took credit for it immediately, and he probably would to this day. If it wasn't for him speaking up, birth certificate would have never came out.
No, you'd have never seen the fake one. I mean, the one that he presented.
Whatever it was.
The Adobe Photoshop CEO
By the
said
way,
it's
that's
bunk.
right. That's right. The woman who is the founder of Adobe Photoshop said, this isn't even a good fake.
Oops.
Yeah.
But everything that's cascaded through both the Republican primaries, Ted Cruz's father being part of the assassination of JFK, and everything he said about your candidate.
Okay, so the conspiracy theories we have that they've listed: birther movement, Ted Cruz's dad, JFK.
Ted Cruz's dad hung out with Lee Harvey Oswald, passing out Here's where it gets. I don't care if he hung out with him. Whatever.
Doesn't even matter. Right. It doesn't matter.
The problem is that the reason he was hanging out with him is because he was helping Lee Harvey Oswald distribute communist flyers. And I want to know, if we're going to elect a man as president of the United States whose father was a communist during the biggest, most critical part of the Cold War, I want to know why.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, there's a lot of people out there who have family members that are totally different from you. I mean, we're very conservative. We have very liberal family members. So I'm not trying to say...
At one time.
Right. I'm not trying to say that since Ted Cruz, was raised by a card-carrying member of the Communist Party, that we should not trust him or that we should not believe that he's anything other than a communist. I'm not saying that.
No, and then he was born in Canada.
I just want an explanation.
Right.
I want to hear the story of how being raised by a communist atheist dad has caused you to see the light. I want to hear the story.
Right, and become very religious and supported by religious individuals through the Church of Christ and all these things, and that you're the constitutionalist that everybody claims that you are, and the fact that Rush Limbaugh sung praises for you, yada, yada, on and on. Okay, how did you make that transformation? I mean,
right.
like there's other news show, radio show guys that I've seen and heard of. One writes a book called Right Turns.
Oh, yeah.
He was a lib.
Yeah, it's nice
Michael
to hear the
Michael
story.
Medved.
And I'll tell you what, if he never told the story and he ran for president, I would demand to hear it.
I say, hey, man, whoa. You were a Democrat card-carrying member. You were all in on the Democrat Party, and now you're running as a Republican? What's up?
Yeah.
Oh, you wrote a book called Right Turns.
Yeah.
Oh, and in that book you explained how you saw the light. Okay. Cool. Great book, by the way. So, you know.
Okay. And by the way, Donald Trump was pro-choice. And now he's pro-life. And I'm telling you right now, and you guys will remember this if you're listening, there are a lot of pro-lifers that were like, whoa. We don't believe you that you were pro-choice. You were vocally, it was a matter of public knowledge that he was pro-choice. And now he's trying to claim that he's pro-life. We're not buying it. So guess what he did? He told the story of how he went from being pro-choice to pro-life. Here's why I 100% believe him, and I totally believe Trump, because I was pro-choice.
And a lot of men wind up being pro-life after their first child.
I was.
I mean, think about it.
I don't remember. I think it was a little bit before.
As a man,
there was some pregnancy, child issues that steered in that direction.
Okay, as a man, I had no clue what children were like or about, and I didn't like them. I'm not a child guy. People are like, hold the baby. No, I got this thing. If I touch a baby, you'll have a baby. I don't want no babies. Oh, I'm serious. I was hardcore. I want no baby.
You'll have a
yeah. Hold the baby, touch the baby, feed the baby. No, it ain't mine. I don't want nothing to do with it. They stink.
Why don't you change it?
I know, they stink. They smell.
Happening.
No, I was not the child guy. You didn't call me to babysit because that wouldn't have happened. Ever, never. Fast forward to 32 years old, and I have my first child, Wow. You want to talk about a paradigm shift?
Yeah.
A complete upending of every thought I ever had. But yet I don't like other people's kids, though. I mean, I like my own, but like a room full of kids.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough.
I get that.
I don't think any parent.
You might as well throw a bucket of spiders on me.
Oh, wow. You got a room full of spider monkeys.
Right. Jumping all over the place.
Right.
All right. So back to the clip.
I don't think it has ever hurt him to be seen as a person who peddles conspiracy theories.
Okay.
That's because he doesn't.
Okay, so she's going into this whole narrative that she's sold on the fact he peddles them.
She's starting with the false premise.
Correct. The whole, so when did you stop beating your wife? Because we all know you beat her.
That's right.
I think that the Republican base and the people who are voting for him and enthused about the idea of how much he'll shake up politics, they don't care. I don't think it hurts his image among people who are even remotely inclined to support him.
Well, I don't think it hurt him in the primary. Obviously, he was successful and won that primary fair and square. I think his problem is, and once he got to the general election, he's been unable to expand his base of support.
Okay, so she said, look, we know he's a peddler of conspiracy theories. The only explanation I can come up with why his supporters, his base, still follow him is because they just don't care. They care. They're not believing your lie, which is the premise that he's peddling conspiracy theories.
Not only that, but I think that more people care about this election than any other election I've ever seen.
And they're going to care about their candidates. They're going to care that a father may have been involved with the Communist Party. They're going to care that Hillary Clinton let a bunch of people die in Benghazi.
So he says, Mook says, his problem in the general, he's been unable to expand his base.
He has some statistics that would actually kind of bolster that claim.
1 week. In 1 week, 7 days, Donald Trump has risen in the black community vote by 6%.
No. He has 6 times.
Oh, 6 times. Sorry. 6 times what he had. 6 times what he had. Sorry.
6 times as many black people who supported him initially.
Correct.
6 times as many now
are That's not expanding your base?
Oh, you know what it is? White people, and I can't just single out liberals. White people have taken black people for granted for too long. It's just this, and it's kind of disrespectful to take them for granted so much. The right, the left, and Donald Trump is not some lily white guy that grew up in a really rich, ritzy neighborhood and went into the Skull and Bones, like all these Skull and Bones people that are all white organizations. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't allow black people in, but for whatever reason, black people just haven't gone to the places where all these former presidents have hung out.
Right.
And then you got Donald Trump, who's like, yeah, my dad maybe learned how to build a building by hanging out down with the construction workers.
Right.
And I can really relate to that because when I was in first grade and I started at my inner city public school, that was like one of the first years they started the integration program. And I just found this out from the book Going Red when I read that last week, that the demographics in Hamilton County, we have 26% blacks in Hamilton County. That's double the national average.
Really?
But that's not all. In the inner city, the actual inside the border of Cincinnati, the demographics is 50-50, black and white.
Wow.
Yeah, so all of Hamilton County were 26%. You may not know if you didn't live inside the city limits.
Right.
Because a lot of that 26% comes from the fact that 50% of the inner city is black. And by inner city, you got to understand Cincinnati's a really weird place. It's not inner city, outer city. It's the city.
Right.
We have a border for the city of Cincinnati. It's actually a lot smaller than people think because our overall population of the greater Cincinnati area is actually huge. But that doesn't incorporate the city. We have suburbs.
Right.
But in Hamilton County, we got 26% black, 50% black in the city. I went to school in the inner city. When we had the integration program, it caused all of the public schools in the Cincinnati Public School District to go 50-50 black and white, roughly. Some might be 60-40, some might be 40-60, or somewhere in between. But on average, across the board, you're looking at 50-50. So half of the kids that I went to school with were black. And I can tell you right now that I understand the culture. And I believe that Donald Trump's upbringing has helped him to understand the black culture. When you see him go to those events with the black pastors or whatever, and you see him just having a chit chat where he's like the only white person, he's completely surrounded by all black pastors and stuff like that. He's totally in his element. He's totally
see how comfortable he looks.
Meanwhile, people like Mitt Romney will not grace the stage of any kind of an all-black anything.
No.
He was just terrified.
And then you get Hillary Clinton showing up to that black radio show.
Oh, with a handbag with hot sauce in it.
It's like, come on, man. Come on, lady.
Oh, she's
you can't
so
be
bad.
telling me. It looks like you're pandering to the black people. Is it working? That's what she said.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Is it working? Because she knew she was caught. I saw the video of that. I didn't realize that had been videotaped because I had heard it 20 times before, and all 20 were just the audio.
Right.
Because it was a radio show.
Right.
Well, apparently there's a camera in the radio studio.
Yeah.
And they decided that...
No, I put it up.
Oh.
Yeah, you can find that on Facebook.
Oh, it's on Facebook.
/Smith Radio.
The video.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So go to the Smith Radio Facebook page, and you can see the video. And when he says, now you know that's going to be viewed by a lot of black people as pandering. And you could see the look on her face. Her reaction to him saying that is, why'd you have to say that?
Okay, now that you said that, is it working?
She was just like, oh, I got caught with my hand in the handbag.
Right.
In the hot sauce jar.
What makes you think? Who told you that would be a good idea?
A bunch of white people.
Oh.
She's surrounded by all these handlers that are white, and I'm sure that she has some black people in her administration too, but the people that came up with the idea of putting hot sauce in your handbag were a bunch of millennial people that said, oh, wouldn't it be funny if grandma over here had hot sauce in her handbag? Let's tell her to do it. And if they try to question her about her racial chops, she can throw that out at them.
Not working, folks.
No, you know what that is? That's insulting black people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's insulting.
Without a doubt. So the expanding of Trump's base, that's absolutely false. Sorry about that, Mook.
And you see his unfavorability numbers only going up.
Are they?
By the way, Hillary's unfavorability numbers are at historic highs. It's just not
I like the way that you make the H silent. Historic.
Historic. Not only that, but a poll was taken by NBC or CBS, one of the liberal news medias. 11% polled. She's trustworthy.
What? Who are these 11%? I mean, that's 1 out of 9. 1 out of 9 people.
That seems like a lot, huh? That seems like a lot.
You know what that proves? That 1 out of 9 people are liars. They're liars.
You see him struggling to communicate a focused message. And
is that what we heard last week? He's struggling to communicate a focused message.
Okay, so here's why he said that. I'm going to get a little inside baseball with you.
Okay.
He's got a focused message. He's always had a focused message, but he tends to go off on tangents and all that kind of stuff. And
especially if he doesn't have it like a
here's
teleprompter.
But here's the inside baseball part. We need to get. This is from the DNC. This is the meeting, the round table. We need to get him off message. Well, let's just try to muddy the water. Let's try to dilute his message to the public. And then when asked about it, we'll say that he struggles to get a focused message out.
Right.
That's all. He's literally just saying that because he wants you to hear him say that. That's the only reason. It has no basis in fact at all. And he's only saying it because it's important for that to get to your ears.
And if you are part and parcel down with the Clinton, Clinton crew, and you hear that, you're going to repeat that to other people around you. Well, he's off message. He's off message.
He's off. Our cousin, or your brother-in-law. He needs to get back on message.
Yeah, these and Rush struggles with stick to the issues crowd.
Oh yeah,
when he's on his show.
Yeah.
Stick to the issues, meaning get back to the message.
Right, he
get to the message.
To start telling stories about things that aren't necessarily politically involved.
But it's neat to hear him talk about it. He's a great storyteller. But anyways, we know. I work with people who say, he's got to tone it down, stick to the message, stick to the. He just needs to be presidential. To all y'all, and we talked about this today earlier before the show, to all y'all that think that he needs to change, heads up, article written by Breitbart, old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, I did it my way.
Oh, okay.
Trump says, I'm doing it my way. It's what got me here. It's what's going to make me win. I'm not a politician. Listen to me, folks. I'm not politically correct. I'm not a politician. I didn't practice at these things. I'm not practicing at that. But I am your voice. I'm speaking for you.
And I'll never lie to you.
Yes! And there's one thing I promise. I will never lie to you.
I'll always be honest. That's what it was. I'll always tell you the truth. That's what he said.
Yeah. Right. And that is exactly... I'm telling you, I've looked for it. And I continue to look for it. When we do show prep and I'm listening to that throughout the week, I am not I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for Trump. It's all in to win. No. I used to get knee-jerky at some of the things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And maybe still a little bit, but not so much, because it's resonating with the people, with the crowds. The people are coming to him, and tens of thousands of people are coming to see him speak everywhere because he's speaking for them. He said, I'm speaking for the African Americans. I'm speaking for the Hispanic Americans. All Americans. He's lumping everybody. We are all Americans. He's trying to take the divisive divides that have been built and put up by the Democrats and Obama to divide and conquer the people. He's attempting to remove them and say we are all Americans. And then the thing with Louisiana, when one state hurts, we all hurt.
Yeah.
We're all one big giant country.
So you want to talk about presidential? He does what the president is supposed to do. And he showed that when he goes to Louisiana. He's a pragmatic problem solver. He's going to do it his way, which is going to be the best way. On the flip side, let's talk about this for a second. Somebody says, I wish he would be more presidential. Well, what is presidential? Is that the behavior of all of our past presidents?
Is Obama presidential? He is the president.
Some would say that he does very well with acting presidential. Was Romney. Romney seemed to act pretty presidential. What about George W. Bush? He acted extremely presidential. His dad was even more. He was like the quintessential behavior of presidential. It didn't work. Our problem in America is it's important. It's so important for us to elect somebody that looks presidential. I'm sick and tired of electing people that look and act and behave presidential. I want somebody that knows what the hell they're doing and is going to solve the problems in the best way possible. And we haven't had that. And I think that my feelings on it are shared by enough people that somebody like Trump could win this whole damn thing.
Not only that, but he has not shown a path or a historical path of lying. Look back at the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years of his life. He has not been known in the business world, in his personal world, in just life in general. He has not been known to be a liar, a conniver, a stealer, a misogynist. That's not what he is. That he has never been known for those things.
It's
ever.
like the opposite. It's like the opposite. Some of the most powerful women who have climbed a corporate ladder in any organization ever, you can find them in the Trump organization.
Apparently, more women work at the higher CEO or the executive levels in the Trump organization than men.
And funny thing is,
he's probably
Ivanka.
He's making more money on them because he's paying them less.
Ivanka is probably going to beat out the two brothers
to take
over.
He already said it. It's a done deal.
amazing.
Well, no, we played that clip. It was a done deal. And was it Megyn Kelly? Yeah, it was Megyn Kelly. She's like, what? Ivanka's going to take over?
Megyn Kelly has turned into a hack. She's such a fake hack.
Okay, so while we're talking about this, we got that sound clip on hold. While we're talking about this, the Louisiana floods that went down, reported as biblical rain floods. 13 people died. Count might have gone up. 30,000 forced to leave their homes. It's just unbelievable what is going on in Louisiana, and it's at epic proportions that local Louisiana newspapers were blasting Obama for not even mentioning, not even uttering, not even saying anything about Louisiana and staying on his vacation time with Larry David. And it's appalling the way Obama has been treating this devastating floods, the deaths, the people that have moved out. Hillary Clinton this week, because of all the outcry, the scream, and the pressure. I don't even know if it was her. It might have been one of her handlers that did it. And she's on knocking on death's door. She's having coffee and tea. She's having tea and crumpets with the Grim Reaper.
Right.
Sitting there laying in bed. And she say, hey, somebody grab my BlackBerry. Tweet something out about Louisiana. Help. The Red Cross is great. I love them. Okay, good night. And so somebody tweeted, it might have been her, it was her account. Hey, folks, sorry, looking bad down there. Red Cross. And put a link to the Red Cross for help.
Oh, my gosh.
Linked to the Red Cross for help.
I'll tell you what, for her to drop the ball this severely on Louisiana is, there must be like one of our commenters on our show today said, health crisis? Must be.
Absolutely has to be. So check this out. This is reported by Breitbart as well. Donald Trump and his running mate, Mike Pence, are going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on Friday to meet with the victims. A quote, this is from Trump, quote, I hope everyone in Louisiana knows that our country is praying for them and standing with them to help them in these difficult hours. Trump said this at his Charlotte, North Carolina rally, but obviously this was just before, right after the rally. Then he went down to Baton Rouge. Apparently Obama, like we were saying before, has given no indication that he will interrupt his 2-week vacation in exclusive Martha's Vineyard to visit the flood victims. The president played another round of golf Thursday with television Larry David and Bain Capital co-managing partner Jonathan Levine. That's just what it was. He's out rubbing elbows with the rich and famous.
Golfing, of all things. It's like what you do on your time off.
By the way, they reported it was his 300th round of golf.
Wow.
Now, I know
schedule that.
If you're a retired folk like my dad, 300 rounds, he can knock that out in probably a few months. But he golfs, I think, 2 or 3 times a week. So might be a couple of years. But anyways,
I was going to say,
he could knock it out.
You've got to really schedule that.
When he not only does he schedule it, but it is his number one hobby, his obsession. He's incredibly good at it, and he's been doing it all his life. And when you go down to Florida, down in the villages, he's got a card. He's a card-carrying member. He's got his own.
You have to have a card.
Oh yeah, and he's got his golf cart there at the house, and you drive them on the streets and the sidewalks. And
does he live in the villages?
He bought a house down there.
I thought that he was joking about that. He wasn't going to do that because it's a commune.
I don't know if it's actually inside the villages.
It's near there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought you were saying that he was joking about them pitching it to him.
Yeah, no, he's down there, man, for good.
But not in the villages, because that's the commune.
Well, he plays the golf courses all around, all the golf courses down there. You pay one fee, and you schedule it throughout the week, and you can go this one, this one, this one, this one, and he just rotates them. He's got his schedule all the time.
All right.
Apparently, that's what Obama's doing, too.
I just hope he's not in the villages, okay?
Dude, why are you making me doubt myself?
You don't know. You don't know where your dad lives?
I have no idea where he lives. I've never been there.
Oh, my God.
No, it is the villages because they had to sneak the children in.
What?
Yeah, children aren't allowed down there. Sort of. Not really. You got to be real quiet during the day.
Oh, my gosh. That's
the quiet time between 1 and 3.
Oh, my God.
So apparently Obama's 300th round of golf. No intentions of even talking about it going down. But Trump, on the other hand, in a record crowd in North Carolina, speaking to the victims and explaining to them that America is praying for you. Obama didn't even say anything. He didn't even mention it. And Trump comes out to tell Louisiana, hey, folks, we're coming. We're coming to help you.
I think Obama might be on the bus already.
You think he's calling it in?
He did, didn't he? Oh, that's right. Okay, so he initially doesn't go. And when people started calling him out on it, he called up somebody. It was either the Louisiana governor or something like that. And he asked him, hey, can you cover for me? He said, oh, yeah, sure. So he goes out publicly after the fact. It's very important to understand it was after the fact. To tell everybody, oh, no. Obama offered to come. But I told him, no, do not come down here because it's going to cause all kinds of traffic issues and it's just going to be a big old mess. So don't do that. I would like you to not come. So I told him not to come because it would cause more problems than good. But that was after the fact.
Okay, so there's a couple of articles here that have been released recently. One article says Governor John Bell Edwards praises Trump and Pence their trip to Louisiana flood-affected areas. Okay, the governor. All of a sudden, you scroll down to a couple other ones. Trump makes fools of governor and the media when he rolls into Baton Rouge.
Okay.
The Democrat governor said, yeah, come on down. I'm telling you right now, you're welcome to Louisiana, but not for a photo op. Do not go to Baton Rouge.
You're welcome to come down, just don't go to Baton Rouge.
Don't go to Baton Rouge for a photo op.
Okay.
The Democrat governor said.
Okay.
So apparently Trump goes anyways.
But he ordered all camera crews to stay behind and not to come and not to videotape him, not to take pictures of him or nothing. Did you hear about that? He ordered he has an entire plane that's full of nothing but camera crew, media people.
Correct.
He left them behind.
You're still going to have
there's going to be local guys.
Yeah, local people, picture takers. Yes, well, that's awesome that he
I would have
did
said
that.
this. I would have said, folks, I know you guys really want an autograph really bad, and I love signing autographs. I'll sign hats, whatever. But guys, I'm here to do a job, and I can't do it. I'm sorry. If you'd like to join me in unloading this truck, that'd be fine. But I can't. I'll do it at a rally or something. But I'm here to do a job and to get it done. I think that would have gone a long way too. I wouldn't have been caught signing anything. I would have said, look, don't take this the wrong way. I got a job to do, and I got to do it, and I can't be wasting time signing.
Oh, well, this is by the way, WAPO, Washington Post.
WAPO?
Yeah, WAPO.
The compost?
Uh-huh. Donald Trump on Friday signed hats and T-shirts for supporters in flood-ravaged Baton Rouge, where he met with victims and response crews at a local church and drove through the city's damaged streets. I mean...
Did he drive through with his 18-wheeler?
Yeah, with the bus, the tour bus?
No. I heard that he brought an 18-wheeler with 70,000 pounds worth of aid, for the most part.
No, apparently Washington Post
doesn't say nothing about that.
He didn't. They didn't see that. Here's okay. Further, all the way down to the end of it, it said a sizable donation to flood relief fund and helping the victims.
He brought a 70,000-pound shipment in an 18-wheeler. And he physically helped them unload it.
Okay, so Trump himself knocked the president during the campaign event. They're calling it a campaign event. Washington Post is a campaign event.
Wow, that is very dishonest.
During a campaign event.
He canceled campaign events to go do this.
Right. Honestly, Obama ought to get off his golf course and get down here.
That is so dishonest. Right there, that is what I properly refer to as a media lie.
Right. So then right after this, he headed up to Michigan or whatever. He headed up to Michigan. He said, I just got back from a tour of the suffraging and devastation in Louisiana. Perhaps you can tell by the way I'm dressed. I just got off the plane. It was actually incredible. The spirit of the people is incredible. The devastation, likewise. They've never seen anything like it. And then it goes into Hillary Clinton said Friday that she spoke with Edwards by telephone and called the situation heartbreaking. She also made a thinly veiled reference to Trump's visit and then questions about Obama not going. Oh, and here's the tweet. Closely monitoring the flooding in Louisiana and Mississippi. At Red Cross is helping displaced families in need. rdcrss.org.
Guess you don't need me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Dude, it's pathetic.
She's monitoring it from where? From Twitter's Moments feed?
So she says, my heart breaks for Louisiana, and right now the relief effort can't afford any distractions. She said this on Facebook. The very best way this team can help is to make sure Louisianans have the resources they need. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. She called that in. Called it in.
So all of this is in response to Trump doing this.
Trump going down there.
If Trump wasn't running for president, nothing would be going on in Louisiana.
No, not at all.
With the politicians at all.
This is
just crazy.
It's a sad event that's going on down there. And it's just, it's all a lie. It's all become just one big giant lie. So, I don't know. I'm going to skip the rest of that sound clip with Mook and Madcow and jump right into, because we're kind of winding down, and jump right into this.
Running short on time here, folks.
This whole Russian.
It's lightning round.
This Russian ties. Did you hear about all the Russian ties?
Several of them. Go ahead.
With Clinton?
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, she did the whole thing with Uranium One.
Oh, right.
Bill Clinton getting paid, and then some of the other.
I did know those things. Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't know about
Conway
this.
say, no, we are seeing a different Donald Trump. Best week of the campaign in the last week, and he's reinforcing that with new policies. Well, Hillary Clinton promises more of the same.
Well, George, we're not seeing a pivot. Donald Trump himself said this was not a pivot. He wants to double down on letting Donald Trump be Donald Trump. That's why he's brought in to run his campaign someone who ran a so-called news organization, Breitbart News, which has peddled some of the worst conspiracy theories around.
Okay. It's same guy, same conspiracy theories. Got to keep that going.
Really push this. It's not going to work, but go ahead.
News that, quote unquote, news that's been defended white supremacists.
He's claiming Breitbart defended white supremacists.
So he's just throwing out random phrases now.
Well, because they were the ones originally threw out David Duke supported Trump. When it's not true, he actually supported Hillary.
been sexist, racist, the worst of our politics. So I think we should be very concerned. I would also point out that Paul Manafort has been pushed out, but that doesn't mean that the Russians have been pushed out of this campaign. The hand of the Kremlin has been at work in this campaign for some time. It's clear that they are supporting Donald Trump. But we now need Donald Trump to explain to us the extent to which the hand of the Kremlin is at the core of his own campaign. There's a web of financial interests that have not been disclosed, and there are real questions being raised about whether Donald Trump himself is just a puppet for the Kremlin in this race.
You're saying Donald Trump is a puppet for the Kremlin?
Well, real questions are being raised about that. Again, there's a web of financial ties to the Russians that he refuses to disclose. We've seen over the last few weeks him parroting Vladimir Putin in his own remarks. We saw the Republican Party platform change. We saw Donald Trump talk about leaving NATO and leaving our Eastern European allies vulnerable to a Russian attack. The gentleman he brought with him to his security briefing just last week is someone who's on the payroll of the Russia Times, which is basically a propaganda arm of the Kremlin. He was sitting 2 seats away from Vladimir Putin at their 10th anniversary gala. There are a lot of questions here, and we need Donald Trump to disclose all of his financial ties and whether his advisors are having meetings with the Kremlin.
A lot of questions this week also about the Clinton.
And all of a sudden, that's where that YouTube clip, that's where it cut it off at. Stephanopoulos goes in, and there's also a lot of questions about the ties to Hillary Clinton. Thanks, YouTube Clipper, the guy who put that video up. So, do you hear who he's talking about? Mook is talking about somebody. Who is he talking about? $10,000 question. Who is Mook talking about? It's Hillary Clinton. He says Trump, but he really knows that it's Clinton that has all those ties.
Well, and the thing is, I do believe that Russia would rather have a Trump presidency than Clinton. But that doesn't necessarily
they would work either way.
Probably,
they know that
because of the corruption. They know they could buy Clinton.
Yes, 100%.
But they know they can work with Trump.
Right.
Because Trump has already come out and said that wouldn't it be nice if we could be allies with him?
We could get along. Well, and the other thing, too, I honestly believe that, and if you've seen it in the news in the past, Putin makes fun of Obama. Like, Putin knows that Obama's a joke.
Yeah, that everybody does. Everybody.
And he knows that Hillary Clinton would be the third term for Obama. She would be a joke. They'd make money off of her, but she would be a joke. And what it seems like he needs right now in the Middle East is an ally against ISIS versus funding Iran and dumping all the weapons and all these things. And
you know that a big part of the reason why Obama and his administration have been funding ISIS is because it helps them to keep Russia in check.
Right.
It should be the opposite.
Oh, no.
We're talking about a religion that's hell-bent on destroying pretty much if you're not a Muslim, you're supposed to get your head chopped off.
How many Russian attacks have there been? Or mass murders of people and bombings by Russians?
None.
Did you know there was another bombing here in Turkey? It might have been yesterday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was at a wedding.
Okay.
And they blew up. Dozens are dead. Maybe 80 are injured, 100 are injured. I mean, the numbers were up there. It was by the ISIS claims responsibility.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
But who does that? There's only one person. Yeah, Russians aren't doing that.
You're not worried about some suicide bomber that turns out to be Russian. And if the Tsarnaev brothers, but they were Muslim.
Right.
And they were seeking asylum from where they were at.
Correct. Absolutely. One thing before I forget, since we were talking about Breitbart, and he was talking about Breitbart there for a minute, Andrew Breitbart was the man. It's named the website is named after Andrew Breitbart, who mysteriously passed away
very, very mysteriously
at 46 years old,
maybe even younger.
It was very, very young,
42 or something. I don't know. Right. He was young.
So, and we don't know. It's just what it is. What it is. However, he wanted this narrative. The media. his statement to the media was, it's not your business model that sucks, it's you. That's his statement to the media. So they wanted to come out with a revolutionary media that told the truth, it spoke the truth, and actually published true articles or exposed articles for not being true. I've got a clip of Andrew Breitbart speaking at a convention. Tell me who he's talking about.
Over the last 3 years, I've realized that the Republican Party and the conservative movement is not what ABC and CBS puts on the screen. They try to portray you in the worst possible light. And when I walk through CPAC, or I travel the United States to meet people in the Tea Party who care, black, white, gay, and straight, anyone that's willing to stand next to me to fight the progressive left, I will be in that bunker. And if you're not in that bunker because you're not satisfied with this candidate, more than shame on you, you're on the other side.
He's talking about Trump.
He's talking about Trump, but he's talking specifically to Never Trump Cruise Crew conservatives.
Right.
But this was long before...
This is years ago. This is before Trump ever even thought about it.
Well, first of all, Andrew Breitbart's been dead for several years.
Right.
And that's a shame. Wow, it's a shame. He was a big trailblazer. But I didn't realize just how much of a shame it was until now. Now that I see people like, us, and I mean, what we've done has allowed us to kind of go into this new media where we see a bunch of people doing the same thing, and then you find out that what Breitbart was doing to explode onto the scene and be so popular is exactly what we're doing and what all these other people like us are doing. So it's interesting. He's like the godfather of new media, or the forefather. The forefather.
Died 2012, March 2012, before Obama's reelection. Said that he had all kinds of information that he was going to put out there. Yeah. Tons of information. He was 43 years old.
Yeah,
43. So this was the run up to the
Romney versus Obama.
Right. And he's pitching for Romney.
Right.
Who is the establishment, who is a horrible candidate. But doesn't matter. It is not the progressive left.
Right.
Romney was not progressive left.
You got to move the ball. You got people like the Cruise Crew. They just want to throw Hail Marys all day. And I'm like, listen, if I'm talking about Romney here, definitely not about Trump. But I'm kind of empathizing with them. With McCain would be a perfect example. Sometimes you have to punt, and sometimes you have to just get a first down. But you got to be constantly battling progressives and the left and Marxists and Democrats, which is what they all are. You just have to get yardage.
Right.
You have to get yardage. You can't sit there and say, oh, we didn't get the first down. We got to go for a Hail Mary now. Whoa. Forget the Hail Marys. Either let's just get a couple more yards, or let's just go ahead and punt, or whatever. Now, in the case of Trump, they got it all wrong. I mean, this guy, we're going to clean house with this guy. It's going to be a great move for the conservatives, and they don't know it, and they don't know why. Here's a guy who's not been raised and been a conservative his whole life, and it's making him so nervous. They can't understand how somebody who hasn't been born and bred a conservative since birth could possibly do anything positive for conservatism. And they're just stupid. But anyway.
You're absolutely right. Oh, man, we're coming up on just a couple of minutes left. I hate to tell you this, folks, but Obama has lied to you. Come out, admitted it this week. Yes, the $400 million to Iran was ransom for the hostages. It was on contingent that they release the hostage. I was going to give them the money anyways, but it's on contingent that they release the hostages. By the way, folks, it was a $1.7 billion deal that was owed since the 70s. $1.7 billion. $400 million was the actual payout. 1.3 billion is still owed, and that's all interest.
Oh, jeez.
1.3 in interest. They want 1.3 in interest on the $400 million.
They better not get that.
Okay, so that another article this week: Mexico's strictest gun control, 5 times higher murder rate than that of average American cities where open carry laws are widely acceptable. Mexico, gun crimes just through the roof, just like Chicago. And then, that's just about it. I mean, there was a lot of things going on this week. A lot of stuff happened.
Great speech by Trump in North Carolina this week, which is the one where he supposedly apologized, which, whatever. I mean, I'm glad he did it. Aren't you glad he...
I loved it. I loved it. I think I've read...
It was the greatest speech he's done so far.
Yeah, I read the speech, and it has to be absolutely one of the greatest speeches I've heard him give.
The delivery was great.
Yes, without a doubt. People are calling it a shakeup. There's a shakeup in the Trump campaign.
That's just the leftist narrative.
They want you to get scared, and they want you to think that Trump's shaking things up. I'll tell you what. It was. It's not Trump's fault that what's his face left. I forget his name. It's not Trump's fault, and I blame it on him. Shame on him for leaving at the time he did. So
awesome show again.
Wow, the best 3 hours you'll spend anywhere, folks. I promise you that.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.